My friends are cruel, so I got them evicted.
Ooh, that sounds very cruel intentions.
Even crueler. I, 24 female, met 2 people I now call Cancer, 32 female, and Tumor, 42
Okay.
male.
Let's-
hold on. We gotta change these names.
Let's make it Kate and Trent.
Kate and Trent.
Cool.
They suck. So back in December of 2019, shortly before I turned 19. Okay, so there was a big age gap with all those people there. No relationship like that, but anyways. At the time, I was just adjusting to life after aging out of the foster system and caring for the elderly man who had been my guardian and father figure. It was a tough period, but I had a small group of supportive friends who helped me through it. One invited me to meet new people, thinking we'd all get along. That's how Kate and Trevor, what did we say?
Trent.
That's how Kate and Trent entered my life. By the way, this comes from the one Maria on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So that friend is gone to me now, and I ended up spending most of my free time with Kate and Trent. I was desperate to escape the harsh reality of watching my father's health decline, so I ignored the constant yelling and toxic atmosphere in their household. Looking back, I can't imagine how their son endured their tirades. At the time, they were embroiled in an ongoing dispute with their neighbors, channeling their anger and blame outward. When my father passed away in February of 2020, their chaos left no room for my grief. Their neighbor drama escalated as I tried to manage my father's estate. One day, a lit candle was thrown through their window, narrowly missing me in the kitchen. So someone threw a lit candle in their house with the beef they got going on with the neighbors.
What a weird thing to be throwing.
They're like it's close to a Molotov, right?
Jeez.
It's
They'll do something.
Now, around that time, they started discussing needing a new place to live. Feeling obligated to help, I arranged for their Section 8 housing voucher to transfer so they could move into my home, which I had been planning to rent. Any gratitude they showed was short-lived. They quickly made themselves at home, and that is when Kate's true nature fully revealed itself.
oh no.
You see, for over a year, they trampled every boundary I set. They constantly avoided paying rent on time, or sometimes not at all, caused damage to the property, and frequently broke items. I began to see just how manipulative and vindictive Kate in particular could be, and Trent as her enabler. She thrived off of triangulating friendships, hiding her true nature when it suited her, destroying the individuality of anyone she viewed as a threat, and using every situation to her advantage. If she couldn't get what she wanted through coercion, she made sure you suffered for it. Well, by the time I realized how deeply they were impacted by my mental and physical health, I had already lost significant weight, dropping from 120 pounds to 98 pounds, and was at risk of sudden heart failure. I had to start to plan an eviction then, but I felt a false sense of obligation towards their son, and I couldn't bring myself to be another source of displacement for him. I finally I fled my own home, taking only the essentials and pretending the move was temporary to avoid triggering Kate's vindictive streak. Even then, they found ways to harass me. After putting distance between us, the stalks and the threats began. Kate tracked me online and was harassing my friends, and even threatened me with deportation despite my status as a U.S. citizen born abroad. Oh my God. And they're racist and xenophobic too.
The unholy trinity.
Haha. She bragged about having people who would track me in real time and threatened to destroy the belongings I had left behind. It became clear that Kate and Trent would never change. That's when I decided I wouldn't just escape. I would ensure they face the consequences of their own actions, the stupid prizes they won for their stupid games. With therapy and the support of my loved ones, I regained perspective, confidence, and a hunger for justice.
I became a lawyer. Is that no? Wait, never mind. That's not what's happening.
I started planning how to completely remove them from my life and eliminate the safety net they had taken advantage of. I sold the house to a tough real estate investor, making the transition seamless so Kate and Trent wouldn't suspect too much. Quietly, I handed the investor all the insights I had gathered on them, their behavior, their tactics, and their character.
I gave the real estate investor my CIA profile that I had built on these people's personalities.
The classified documents have become unclassified. And I strongly advised against keeping them as tenants despite their Section 8 income. I asked only to spare their son as he would be graduating soon. I knew their patterns well enough to trust they would dig their own grave. From there, I cut off all direct communication, deactivated my phone number, left social media, and focused on rebuilding my life. Over time, I landed a better job, improved my self-image, and I found peace. As I regained my health and stability, I kept tabs on the situation from a distance. As expected, I later found out they continued the same behavior, missing rent, causing drama, and treating their living space like a garbage dump. Recently, I found out that Trent's son had moved out, which led to a reduction in their government benefits. This change added extra financial strain to a household that was already struggling. Things were finally starting to begin. Frustrated with their behavior, the investor has discreetly made plans to evict them by early 2025, which is where we're at right now.
Yeah.
For those unfamiliar, eviction from Section 8 housing often involves in losing the voucher, making them ineligible for future government assistance. They have the right to appeal, but given the evidence against them, a favorable reconsideration is highly unlikely. Their official eviction date is set for January 2nd, 2025. And with that, they'll lose their home and their ability to secure future subsidized housing. I want to feel bad that they're losing their home and their safety and just about everything else, but I can't. This is everything that I had hoped for, and it makes me so happy that it's happening during the holidays. Whoa.
Damn.
So, am I the a-hole? We have the update we were just talking about. Dakota.
I don't know, dude. You might be now. With that last sentence?
You were literally the last half of the sentence. We were doing so good. She's like, you know what? Fair. They've been a monstrosity. Then happy I'm evicting him during the holidays. And we're going to get into this update. So, hello, everyone. Let me start by saying thank you to everyone who shared their thoughts. I did not expect to receive this amount of engagement. I have noticed that a few commenters were speaking on things they feel didn't make sense, so I'll add that to clarify here. Kate. Kate is not the biological mother of Trent's son. She officially married into the role after Trent's separation from his ex-wife. 2, the person who took over managing Kate and Trent as tenants on behalf of the investor was the same person who helped me oversee them. So they kept the same property manager, essentially.
Yeah.
They are a longtime friend of my late father and a mother figure to me. They were just one of the few people who would give me tidbits of information now and then, but undoubtedly the most important, as they played an active role in executing the eviction. Even though I deactivated my social media, I wasn't entirely unreachable. I just made it impossible for them. Some extremely unexpected sources eventually reached out to me, as I wasn't the only one who decided to separate from them. And this happened during the pandemic. Statewide moratoriums stayed in effect until July of 2022. Wow. By then, I had been moved out of the house for about a year and had almost finished selling it to the investor before cutting them off entirely in the new year of 2023. They haven't seen or heard from me since. Grace informed me today that Kate and Trent received their eviction notice on December 27th. However, an error stemming from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, caused the official date of their eviction to be pushed back by a couple of weeks. Don't you hate bureaucracy? Secondly, because of their volatile nature, the approach was altered. The update plan was to move them first before filing the formal complaint. I don't know how that's even possible. The priority was to ensure they moved out of the house as peacefully as possible, minimizing the risk of retaliation or damage the news of having their voucher jeopardized would inevitably bring. For context, Kate's frenzies in particular fluctuated based on the intensity of the perceived threat. I witnessed her throw tantrums over something as trivial as self-induced envy. I've been a victim of her having someone monitor my previous living situation because I asked a question of the person she didn't want me talking to. She once brought the police. How can we forget our friends, the police? Not really.
Friends, the police.
Not really. She once brought the police to my door over convincing someone I had threatened their child and went so far as to obtain the address of the place I wanted to move to after I cut them off just to have it as leverage. Trent, though generally more predictable, has also made threats, some of which occurred in Grace's presence, mainly driven by his fear of losing his home. Grace informed me that a thorough investigation will be conducted after they move out of the house and the complaint will be filed. Any substantial evidence of property damage or misuse will be included. Grace is already working with their caseworker to complete this complaint. The Housing Authority, HA, will investigate the matter by reviewing the lease agreement, interactions with the landlord, and any potential violations of Section 8 program rules. Based on the results of their research, they will deliberate on whether to terminate their Section 8 voucher, ergo their housing supplemented income. Grace expressed her disappointment with how things had to change as we both wanted to address it quickly. It's hard not to feel uneasy about the situation, how the situation will develop in the coming weeks. Grace was fully aware of their unpredictable behavior, and despite years of no contact and disappearance from Kate's online presence, her relentless efforts to gain access to my life have not stopped. In August of last year, someone else was manipulated by Kate, who had recently ended their relationship with her and approached me. We connected and uncovered the truth behind the lies Kate had created to keep us divided. You see, she revealed that since my separation, Kate often ranted privately about her fear of me reclaiming the house, demonized me as the source of all her problems, and grew increasingly obsessed over my whereabouts and became even more delusional about my supposed actions, none of which were true. Given their tendency to retaliate when cornered, I'm bracing myself out of habit for the drama. They'll create another one once the shoe drops. They're upset enough about being forced to leave the house they once claimed they'd buy from me. By the way, if you ever feel like you're in a corner, the best way out of that situation is by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. You can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or where your favorite place to listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. It's going to be right there.
There it is.
You can follow it. You can listen to all 1,900 of our episodes, and it's going to be great times. Do we have any predictions and advice for OP?
So I think predictions is it's just going to continue to become more of a crap storm. It's just going to continue. Like I think my advice would be, and I think some people in the comments even said, I think we actually even like kind of discussed it, where it's like, when do you just like let it go?
Yeah.
I think once you've sold the building, you just let it go. Let it go. And because these people being a presence in your life in any way is a detriment to you, clearly.
This is true. She did say that when she did get back in touch with Grace, the property manager, that she's like, oh, I'm hearing stirrings of her getting like her paranoia is growing. So one could argue for her own safety, I feel like we got to, how far away did OP move? That's my question.
That is an important
like
factor.
How far away? I think OP's already gone no contact, but Emma Wilkins says OP needs a restraining order on them.
Yeah, true. Get the law involved.
Yeah. Maybe we just do our final dotting of I's and crossing of T's to like, get the restraining order and all that stuff, and then we leave it alone, because at least at that point we know there's repercussions if they come back.
But it's like all of this is now coming from because they feel like you went out of your way to try to get them evicted, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's where this is coming from. So if you had just let what was probably going to naturally happen anyway just happen, then none of this would be happening right now, because they'd be evicted and they wouldn't be able to be like, this is your fault. But
I agree. it is tempting even for your own. I think like silently get the restraining order and stuff on the side and just absolutely zero. Even Grace, unfortunately, just to like, or like at least talking with Grace about them, just like,
Yeah.
spiritually remove yourself.
Yeah.
Like don't even think about them
Mhm.
anymore.
Just hit him with those people might be a problem, and then leave.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I'm on board with this plan.
because real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Ooh. The inspection and complaint filing are just the beginning of a long and uncertain process. Only time will reveal how the housing authority will proceed with their investigation and what consequences may follow. On a personal note, though, I've managed to keep my distance from Kate. My social media deactivation was always meant to be temporary. It was a decision born from a need for healing and space, but I refuse to let her control my presence. I'm now focused on rebuilding the community I had before I stepped away, from stronger and more resilient than before. I'm ready to start fresh and confront whatever may come my way. Should she try to disrupt my life again, the road ahead may be difficult, but I'm ready.
That's all you can be.
And I can't be too mad at that.
That's the best thing you can be.
It's the best thing you can.
Is ready.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stay ready.
Stay ready.
Stay ready out there, folks.
I refuse to give back my friend's key to their apartment after she cheated on her husband.
You had us in the first half there.
It's my key now. I became friends with a couple, female 26 and male 31, when they moved into the city about 3 years ago. I met them together, and I'm closer with the wife, but also still friends with the husband. About a year ago, the wife moved to another city for her job, while the husband stayed behind to finish his master's. By the way, this comes from user NeatEntrepreneur299, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I got a call from the wife in September. Do you remember? She was inconsolable and said that she had a brief affair with someone, but called it off because she wanted to focus on her marriage. The affair partner did not take it well, found the husband and told him everything in painful detail with screenshots and photo evidence. The husband was obviously blindsided and devastated. They are still in 2 separate states, and the husband has gone low to no contact with the wife, asking for space. She had been incredibly emotional since this happened. I've been in contact with her multiple times a day, even just to check in and let her know she's loved and important, but she's understandably been a mess. I've seen the husband a few times. I let him know that the wife told me what happened and that I just wanted him to know that I'm here if he needs anything. My goal is just to be there for both of my friends and not get in the middle. To me, it comes down to some bad decisions that were made that had really painful consequences. There's no villain in this story. People are not the sum of their mistakes. Fast forward to present day, where the wife was served with divorce papers. She wants to talk to him in person, but he doesn't. He agreed to FaceTime only if they do speak. She wants to fly here without telling him and show up on his doorstep to fight for the marriage. They have a door code to their apartment that they use every day. They also have a key, which they gave me about a year ago when I was watching their pets. When I went to give it back to the husband, he said just to hang on to it. He let her know that he has changed the code to the door, so right now, she has no physical way to get into the apartment if he's not home. She's also concerned that he won't let her in if he knows it's her, which I don't think would be the case, but who knows? She asked me to pick her up from the airport and give her the key so that she can get in. I said I'm not really comfortable with it because I don't want the husband to feel like I betrayed him or was part of some sort of ambush. She's also walking in at 10 p.m. when he is not expecting anybody. I'd be really spooked if it was me. He's former military, but I just think it's not great to surprise anyone that late. I know this sounds stupid, but I suggested that if she Ubers to the apartment, he won't let her in or isn't home. I can drive over, I'm only 15 minutes away. I can give her the key then, but she said no. She is on the lease, so she can still legally enter the apartment, so I reluctantly agreed to give her the key up front. So am I the a-hole to him if I give her the key? Or am I the a-hole to her if I don't give it to her up front? Remember when you said you didn't want to be in the middle of this? You should have just been like, I don't want to be a part of this. This is your mess. Do not involve me.
Yeah, agreed. And just give her the key and get out of it. I understand you would be supportive. They got to work this out on their own. Give them some space.
Edit 1. I should have clarified that they were still together when they gave me the key, which is part of why I'm conflicted. She technically gave it to me with him there. She had already moved for her job when I went to give it back, and he told me just to hang on to it. Edit 2. This is a difficult situation because her mental health has declined significantly since this all occurred. There have been episodes where she was actually making a plan to self-harm and reached out to me. Oh boy. I was able to coordinate with one of her friends there and convince her to admit herself to the hospital for a 48-hour hold. So her mental health has been incredibly fragile. That doesn't excuse the choices that she made in any way. During those episodes, she asked me to reach out to her husband to tell him the state she was in, and I told her no because I felt like it was manipulative.
Yeah.
That's good on you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I also felt like whether he responded or not, it would impact her only negatively either way, and she needed to work with her therapist to help her through this. The support I've given her has been solely regarding her mental health. I haven't engaged in any conversations with either of them about the other. She's mostly vented to me about her deep regret, remorse, guilt, and lack of self-worth because of the choices that she's made. And as her friend, I really try to support her as a vulnerable human being by reminding her that we are not the sum of our mistakes, and while this is painful and has some deep consequences, she still has so much to live for.
Okay. That's supportive. That's not bad.
OP is just trying to be the most neutral and most supportive person in both parties as she can be. I get it. It's very hard. I say all this because I'm seeing a lot of comments saying that I inserted myself into the middle of this, but this has all just happened today. She asked me for the key, and I told her I wasn't comfortable with that for the reasons stated in my original post. She is obviously emotional, and again, she is technically the one that gave me the key, which is why I reluctantly agreed. But then I came here because my conscience is telling me that it's not the right decision, even though I feel like I'm trying to balance a sensitive situation, which has been really intense. Edit 3. Wow, what a jolt this has been in a really short span of time. First, I do want to say that I absolutely think the choices she made were wrong. Okay? And so does she. She knows that she effed up and has been torturing herself over it in some really intense ways. Ways that I am absolutely not qualified to help her navigate, but have tried to be supportive, friend through it because of the immediacy and severity of the help she needed at the time. Thanks to everyone for the perspective. I think I've been so worried about her emotional state over the last few months that I've been too close to it. To see what some of you are saying and that she's being a bit manipulative with me, especially when I told her I wasn't comfortable giving her the key. I'm going to call her tomorrow and let her know that I'm not giving it to her.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
I really appreciate the snap out of it slap a lot of you have provided. Update on the wife.
Oh boy.
I let her know this morning that I wouldn't be giving her the key. As many of you predicted, she instantly responded with a complete vitriol. No discussion. No, please reconsider. None of that. Just straight to, I can't believe you right now. I can't rely on anyone. Thanks a lot. Fine. You will regret it. The last one was a bit unexpected. I probably would have been in shock if I hadn't read the feedback on this post beforehand. So I was honestly unfazed and just responded that I don't support what she's trying to do. And like a few people mentioned, if roles were reversed and the husband was asking me to do this, I would absolutely be saying the same thing and that she needs to respect my decision because it wasn't going to change. Among other things, she told me I was ruining everything. I let her know that unfortunately she is the one that has ruined everything with the decisions she's made in the past, and it's time for her to start taking accountability and stop looking for people to blame.
Ooh.
I also told her that I would be giving the key back to the husband and letting him know what she was planning.
Nice.
She lost it. Lots of swearing, lots of self-pity, threats of self-harm, and then said I wasn't a good friend to her.
God.
That's when I had enough. I told her I was done at being that old 12-ing bag for her and that I know I've been a good friend to her when no one else was supporting her. And I saw her through some dark times. I said her selfishness had finally crossed the line with me. And by the way, you can listen to stories just like this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast at. Just search OK Storytime and we'll be right there.
Hey, let's get some claps in the chat for OP growing a backbone here. For finally finding it and standing on some business. Let's go.
And I love the accountability for your actions. You have no one else to blame, again, but yourself. That's great. It's good for you, OP. What you need to do is get your butt out of this mess. You don't need to be in the middle of this. This is not your problem.
Heck no.
You can support your friends, but
Yeah.
from afar.
From afar.
I ended it by saying that she's in a dangerous state of mind and that she should just reach out to her therapist and share our conversation so she can give her an objective view of that. I let her know that she needed help that I can no longer give and that I was done.
Mm-hmm.
She sent me 2 apology texts about 5 minutes later, but I haven't responded, and I don't plan to. If she somehow shows up at my door, if she flies in tomorrow, I won't be answering. Update on the husband.
Oh boy.
We got together. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine? I let him know everything this morning. We're good, and I made plans to give him back the key. She's supposed to fly in tomorrow night and leave Saturday. He actually won't even be in town this weekend. And that's the end of that story. So she's flying in. She's flying in, and there's nothing she can do.
All right.
That's why she should have
just
told.
go back to her other affair partner.
She should have told her husband.
Should have, dude.
Hey, I'm coming to town, and he would have been like, "Well, good luck.
Good luck.
What are you gonna do? You're flying in for nothing. Good for you, OP. Get away from that. That's not your
circus.
That's not your circus to deal with. Sorry, I was like, there's a lot of terms out there, but you did the right thing. You were trying to be a good friend to both of them, but at some point, it's not your problem.
It's not. It really is not your problem at all.
No.
My girlfriend put an AirTag on my motorcycle to prove a point.
That's bad.
Wise words from Sophia. I'm 27 male and my girlfriend is 33 female. Although our relationship started out very intense and unpredictable, we quickly developed strong feelings and have been together for 3 years. Despite being together that long, I just met my girlfriend's parents for the first time a few weeks ago. And by the way, this comes from __SSE eulogy. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to ROK Storytime subreddit. So she is an only child and said she didn't want to introduce anyone she dated to her parents unless she knew this was the person she wanted to marry. Her parents also live abroad, and due to COVID and her dad's health problems, they didn't visit her for a while. She usually went to visit them. It was a big step for her to tell me she wanted me to meet them, and I did my best to make a good impression. I was raised by my grandmother. When she passed, my older sister took over caring for me. My girlfriend has had a stable upbringing. Her parents are wealthy, and she's lived a privileged life. We don't have the same life experiences, and it was never a problem until I met her parent. For some reason, the differences between us added to our relationships in ways, but unfortunately, I got the impression her parents were scrutinizing every aspect of my life over the dinner we had on our first meeting, and this included my family. I stayed true to myself and maintained my confidence, but left the interaction feeling like I bombed a test. My girlfriend reassured me they liked me. No, they liked you. But her mood over the next few days afterwards suggested otherwise. I called her out on it and pressed her for an explanation. I learned she's been upset because of a fight she had with her mother following the dinner. Her mother thinks I'm just having fun with her daughter, that I will get bored and leave her, and she's too old to be wasting time with me. Apparently, her mother got this impression entirely from the way I look, and this judgment about me trumps anything else I shared about myself. My girlfriend and I decided to have me spend more time with her family over the coming holidays, so I've been going over every day and involving myself in shopping trips, etc., with my girlfriend and her mom, hoping that she would get to know me and overcome whatever skepticism she has. I even spent hours getting a crash course in a strategy board game her dad plays and started playing with him to continue learning it as a form of bonding. He's really trying.
He's really trying.
Really trying.
Yeah, because he knows that it seems like she's probably told him that I only bring people back when I know I want to marry them. So I feel like that's already kind of brought up, you know?
Sure. Despite feeling like I won her dad over, I felt like her mom was constantly evaluating my loyalty in subtle, unrealistic ways. Examples include overanalyzing how I interact with others in public, reading too much into the way I smile, and the way I show affection towards my girlfriend. According to my girlfriend's mom, the fact I have a motorcycle makes me extra sleuty, and that's how this escalated. My sister and I have an 18-year-old dog. It's been a tough few months for him. I think he's approaching the end. For that reason, usually one of us is always with him.
He's been approaching the end. He's 18.
He's on the smaller side, so he's easy to bring along anywhere. I've had to leave to give medicine to my dog at certain times of the day because he's on a schedule, and I guess my girlfriend's mom found even this to be suspicious.
At that point, when you're giving medicine to your dog and they're 18, how good is their life?
Dogs require medicine for a lot of their life.
Yeah,
but the
18.
thing I was going to say, if I was a parent and my child brought home a partner and they were like always like needing to leave to give medicine to the dog, I would think that's a responsible human.
Yeah, he's taking care of his 18-year-old dog.
Yeah.
I mean, he kept a dog alive for 18
years.
That's pretty impressive.
So I would be
so
like, maybe he could keep my daughter alive
for 18 years.
Yeah. That'd be pretty good.
That was so cute.
The other day, I left my girlfriend and her family to give my dog his medicine. On my way there, my phone alerted that an AirTag was traveling with me. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that Apple put that in. When I reached my place, I searched all my pockets and stuff and eventually found it on the motorcycle itself. It was connected to my girlfriend's mom's number. I told my girlfriend, and my girlfriend said she put her mom's AirTag on my bike to prove to her mom that I was not lying about where I was going.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I would be like,
be
if you need to do this.
If you need to prove to her,
yeah.
then you need to prove to yourself.
Yeah.
If you need to prove to yourself, then you don't trust me.
Exactly.
And then I'm playing in between weird relationships of you trying to convince your mom.
Yeah, because
trust
you
me
don't
when
have
you're
to.
not
As long as
trusting
you
me.
trust your partner, why do you have to like go to these lengths to convince your mom?
I get that she was trying to defend me, but I feel angry at her. It's hard to articulate, but ever since I met my girlfriend's family, microaggressions by her mom are really getting to me, and it's hard to separate them from my girlfriend. Hoping I'm just overstimulated by all this and things will get better after Christmas is over. I'm not sure if I'm the a-hole for being cold to my girlfriend about the AirTag though, but it's a frustration that I'm having trouble letting go of. Some comments. The most foundational part of a relationship is the trust between two people. The fact that she didn't tell you about it sounds like she also wanted to see what you were doing, because if she trusted you, she would have defended you.
Agreed.
Parents are and have been skeptical since the first cave person brought another back to their parents. It's up to her and you to convince them otherwise. You seem to have done a lot, so it may just come down to direct face-to-face conversations with the 3 or 4 of you to really hammer this home. Otherwise, who knows what else will be done to test your loyalty. OOP, that's what I've been struggling with. The fact that she didn't let me in on her plan makes me wonder if she wanted to test me too. Even if that's not the case, the whole approach has me pissed off. Self-Psycho says, personally, I think you need to sit her down and address the fact that this feels like she was testing you, and she can let her mother, who's always going to think like that because it seems like the person she is, after 20 years, she could still be saying any day now. It's not going to work out, because all it's going to take is one small comment from her mom, and you are both back in a square one of your relationship. She shouldn't have to prove anything to her mom, which is why this feels like proving to herself. You can possibly work to fix things, but only with discussion and both being honest and not letting others' opinion get in the way. Okay, there's an update here. My girlfriend's parents surprised me with a visit overseas. I'm considering breaking up with her 1 month later.
And now they took again, as I said, they took the AirTag moment and they were like, oh, we're gonna run with this and go even worse.
I'm 28 male. My girlfriend is 33 female. We've been together for a few years and have discussed getting married. Unfortunately, ever since I met her parents last year, this behavior, specifically her mom, had made it difficult for me to see a future anymore. Her mom mistrusts me, and it's all based on superficial impressions and assumptions about who she thinks I am.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
I've tried to show her parents patience and have been extremely respectful, giving them opportunities to get to know me and overcome their prejudices. Everything came to a head when I went to visit my home country. I have a place here and I came to see a friend get married. Her parents showed up unannounced and requested a ride from the airport.
Opie's just like not around that day and they're like, hey, we're here. And he's like,
It was like,
where's here? And they're like, at your house. Can you
They're-
pick us up?
He's not even married
Yeah.
to the daughter, so this has
No.
nothing to do with them. And he's just going to a wedding?
This is insane. Insane.
Okay, I immediately call my girlfriend despite the time difference because I was in shock. I'm in shock too.
I'm in shock.
She claims she had no idea about their plan. They claim it was all impromptu, cheap flight, last minute, etc. I just don't buy it. But regardless of the
Regardless
reasoning,
of whether it's
I was
impromptu,
like,
they called
why
you when
you-
they got in the country.
yeah, and I was like, you can't just crash my trip.
Yeah, no. No.
Anyway, I picked them up and they're currently staying with me in my apartment.
Boy.
They've got no itinerary, but want me to arrange them to see X, Y, Z, and of course they need me as translator. Everything is apparently too foreign to them. They're lost without me. They refuse to go anywhere without me as an escort. My girlfriend is apologetic, but I just don't see her supporting me in dealing with her parents, especially her mom, who is the instigator. The dad has no backbone / is forced to follow her. I posted another issue a while back too. My girlfriend doesn't support me in setting boundaries, so as her partner, I fall into a rock and a hard place type situation. And for me to be like, for us to be like on this comfy couch, like you just got to tell them no.
Yeah.
Like it's super uncomfortable.
It's
you
very
already want their approval. They
Yeah.
already don't trust you. And
Yeah.
then to be able to put a boundary when you're trying to win people's approval, you're
Very
trying to
true.
marry their daughter, super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But still, if you don't put down a boundary now,
They're gonna walk all over you.
especially if you marry their daughter, it's just going to continue. I can't tell if I'm being cold and uninviting or if these people are crazy and my girlfriend is so afraid of them. She didn't even warn me about something like this. Question, did the girlfriend know before it happened?
That's a great
Because
question.
if she did, I would be very upset.
I would be pissed.
I feel like I can handle anything if she's on my side, but it doesn't feel like she is. Maybe I can't be with someone like that. Comments. Turbulent EBB5669. Your girlfriend put an AirTag on your motorbike last month to prove a point to her mother. I think it's time to either accept your fate or move on and enjoy some freedom. Marvelous Mel says, ND. Tell the parents you are in the country because your friend is getting married and your priority is your friend and anything else you want to do. They bought their plane tickets with a plan on relying on you for everything without asking you if that was okay. It's not okay. And they need to leave and make their own arrangements. You are there with a purpose that does not include being their host and tour guide. Randy J. Commando, not the a-hole, and don't be surprised if your girlfriend not only knew about their plan, but actively participated in it. You think it's bad now, imagine what it will be like once you're married to her and her mom. Another update, 6 days later. I just wanted to clarify some things. I only met my girlfriend's parents for the first time late November 2024. The reason I picked them up from the airport instead of abandoning them or telling them to go find a hotel, etc., was out of respect for my girlfriend and the relationship I wanted to have with her and her parents. After the first meeting I had with her parents in late November that I shared in my post, I confronted my girlfriend. She apologized and eventually her mom did too. Basically, I thought we were past whatever suspicions and mistrust her mother had about me. Then this happened. In the last few days since this began, I have realized some things about my relationship. My girlfriend has been trying to play both sides. She'll tell me one thing and her parents another. I'm not surprised. She's been hiding some deep trust issues about me and insecurities about our relationship, mostly her fears about me being unfaithful. I want to be clear that these fears are not because of anything that I've done, it's just how she feels. She's used her parents to convince me it wasn't her craziness. And I'm pretty sure she told her mom how she felt, and her mom was willing to be in on it. Friend's wedding I went to hit a different because of that. But it also made me realize how unhealthy and toxic my relationship was. But if you want something that's healthy and not toxic, you should full episodes of stories just like this with us. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast apps, and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, but should we discuss?
I think that was the right move. Honestly, I think that there was a lot of stuff going on, and it seemed like you had conversations, and she just kept pushing past your boundaries, and so did her parents, and she wasn't doing anything about it. So I feel like it's just not a healthy relationship at that point.
I haven't disclosed a lot, but I think I was in an abusive relationship. I'm still struggling to accept that. And there was some shame creeping up that I don't understand. Why is it there? Anyways, thanks for all the messages. Sorry my writing skills aren't that great. I'm so drained from the situation. I feel like I need to sleep for a month. I don't even feel like writing about any of this, but I felt like I owed you the conclusion. It was definitely to investigate me. I don't think I'll ever know what my ex-girlfriend and her mom were suspicious about. Do they think I'm secretly married or living some kind of a second life? I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to look into my employment history, etc. I feel so stupid for the kindness I extended to them. I tried to be understanding of every transgression and let my girlfriend gaslight me into thinking I was just misunderstanding things because I didn't have parents growing up. We have an update. Last update. My girlfriend's parents surprised me with a visit overseas. I'm considering breaking up with her. To those who were worried with my ex-girlfriend would trash my place, nothing like that happened. I talked to her in person. She said I was misunderstanding everything. She began to cry, which was difficult for me. There was a moment where I wanted to forget about it so I could hug her. I held back because something felt different. She asked me if I hate her. Obviously, I don't. I said I am tired of feeling like the person I love is not who I thought they were. Ever since she introduced me to her parents in close circle, which I didn't talk about, I've seen a side of her I don't recognize. After meeting her parents for the first time and the strange behavior started to add up, I gave her an opportunity to come clean. I asked her to tell me everything. I told her I can't help you if you leave me in the dark. I even warned her if I find out later, it's over. Because of the way she chose to answer me during this conversation, every action I took, I held back. All she had to do was tell me what was going on. I would have helped her take on everything. Instead, she chose to trick me in cruel ways while acting helpless and innocent when I questioned her about it. I shielded her all this time. She manipulated everyone around her, including me. Everything is confusing now. I look back at all of our time together and feel crazy. I can't differentiate anymore her true feelings about anything. She tried to explain the stress of pleasing her friends and family made her act this way. She doesn't share their views or doubts about me. She said she's never loved anyone the way she loves me and her feelings scare her. I wish she would just admit she had too much freaking pride. I understand she's the way she is, probably due to how she was raised, but some of the things she has said and done are unforgivable. The conversation went on, but everything was still other people's fault. She wasn't taking any accountability. So I stood by my decision to stay broken up. And to be honest, by hesitating for even that singular moment when I wanted to hold her, she showed me the side of her that comes out when she doesn't get her way. For the first time, I felt like what I was seeing was her actual self. We were having this conversation while walking outside. We had stopped walking and she was wiping her tears. When she realized I wasn't going to comfort her, she started to say degrading things about me. She also brought it up again that my life is easier than hers because I grew up with no parents.
What?
The low freaking blows.
What? She went, you're an orphan. You had it so much easier.
So much better than me. I had to have rich parents.
I had to have parents
You
who
get to be
loved
actual
me.
Batman.
That's crazy.
This comment was so effed up, it made me laugh. I told her she's so privileged, she has no idea what it means to have a hard life. Because I laughed, I could tell she wanted to throw her coffee at me. Instead, she said more things about me, and I realized I don't care anymore. Because I don't even recognize this woman who is yapping in front of me. Since then, she has emailed me an Excel spreadsheet of all the money I owe. The things she has itemized are things like all the times she's upgraded me on a flight, luxury gifts she has bought me on birthdays, Christmas, etc.
No.
She also included ridiculous things like estimated costs of gas, times amount of times when she was my designated driver, and pregnancy tests. I think she added this just to mess with me.
She was like, yeah, positive pregnancy test.
I'm not going to bother explaining my contributions. This email made me sick. I packed her things that were in my apartment. I had a friend come over when she came to collect them. She didn't know this. I answered the door and she pushed against me and tried to initiate.
Oh, no.
I didn't return her advance and she got angry and scratched me. I think maybe she was trying to slap me but couldn't reach.
Like,
I'm not really sure because it happened too fast and I restrained her. My friend came out and began calling her on it. He made a show of taking a video and threatened her with assault. I think it embarrassed her, so she probably won't do anything like this again. The only downside to his presence was I think she will try to convince herself I rejected her in that moment because he was there. For people asking about my dog, he's happy and comfortable and still alive.
that's crazy. That's the craziest
Dude,
part
you
of this
really
whole
can't
story.
believe this dog is
18 years old.
It's an old dog. He eats well, unlike his age. My priorities are to improve the quality of his life, not necessarily prolong it. But every night I check on him before I fall asleep, and every morning I wake up with this feeling of dread. He has Cushing's disease and chronic pancreatitis. He is high risk for developing cancer.
He's 18.
That's crazy.
He's
yeah.
18.
My dog had Cushing's disease.
So what is that?
It depends on which dog, but like it's just like their liver, like just like their organs, kind of like it's just
He's
not great.
old.
They're old.
At a
Like,
certain point, it's like this dog's not. This dog is just old.
Yeah.
I feel like you're not a fan of this dog.
No, I love this dog,
Okay.
but I'm
She's
like,
not
but I
good
feel like
features.
like I don't know. I think sometimes with pets, people can be like, oh, like they're sick, like blah blah blah, blah, but they're just old. They're just old.
With humans too.
Exactly.
The medication routine is a bit complex, but I'm learning everything I can for him. Take care of your pets and check them often for lumps. A lot of animals hide their pain. I guess we have that in common. Maybe I shouldn't have ended the post like this. Anyway, I'm really okay. I'm posted this update because I got a lot of messages and it's easier than answering them separately. In case I don't feel like answering comments, I will just leave this here. There's a lot I haven't even admitted to myself yet. I'm not saying I'm perfect. It's not about being right or wrong anymore. I have a lot of flaws too. I'm sure I handled some things poorly and I know I was a fool. I also still experience moments where my heart aches and I question if I'm wrong about everything, wanting to just get back together. Hopefully this will get easier with time. Anyway, writing here counts as therapy, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Reddit is a trained professional therapist, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to drink a cold beer in the shower.
Reddit.
That's therapy.
Reddit is like Voldemort's diary. Is like the Voldemort's diary of therapy.
The worst thoughts in your
Yeah,
head, Reddit's
yeah.
like, do it. Darkness, shadow, crook and cranny.
My foster parents demand parental control on my phone. I want it removed.
Of course you do. You're child.
I, 15 male, have lived with my current foster parents since I was 9 years old, but I have been in foster care since I was 6. I will call my foster parents Henry and Aaron. By the way, this comes from OKFinish8622, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I got a new phone as an early Christmas present from my biological dad. It is an iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is the phone that I wanted, so I'm very happy about it. My previous phone was an iPhone 11, and it was bought by Henry and Aaron. On my old phone, Henry and Aaron had set up loads of parental controls on it, so I couldn't download any apps without them approving it. I couldn't turn off share my location. I couldn't change my passcode. It would lock everything except their contacts at 8 p.m. every night until after school.
That's crazy.
and they had a time limit on YouTube. So I could only watch it for 30 minutes within the time where my phone was unlocked anyway. Oh my gosh, that's excessive.
I get it though, because these things can melt people's brains, but also it's like, at some level, it's like, all right, you're just going to make them resourceful enough to get around it.
I could only go on websites that they approved of. Like, there was a list that I could go on, and I couldn't go on anything that they didn't manually add to that list. These all really annoyed me, but whenever I asked for them to be turned off, they told me that they bought the phone, so these were the rules. Now, I was given my new phone by my dad on Monday, and I haven't used it yet because they're telling me that I have to let them put the same restrictions on the new phone as they did on my old phone. I said no because that isn't fair. I should be allowed to use my phone as my dad says because he paid for it. I said to them that my dad paid for the phone, so it was his choice, and that he doesn't want me to have those restrictions on it. But now they've changed and said it doesn't matter who bought the phone, even though that was their whole point before. Now they're saying that because I'm living with them, I have to follow their rules, and the rule for having a phone in the house is that they put restrictions on it. I don't think that is fair at all, considering that they didn't buy the phone. I don't see how they can do this. Before I got home from school on Monday, they took the phone out of the box that my dad sent it in, set up all the restrictions, and now I'm trying to figure out a way to take them off. I'm thinking about complaining to my social worker because it is not fair that they put these restrictions on my phone even though they didn't pay for it. Edit to add, I am not going to be on much longer because I am almost out of my computer time. Thank you everyone for your advice. Here's another edit to add. It's 8 p.m. now, so I'm off. Thanks everyone for taking the time to talk to me. There are some comments. One commenter asks, who pays the cell phone bill? OP. And this comment was downvoted. There is no phone bill. My dad bought the phone. Edit. I don't know if people aren't understanding me. I have a SIM card that was bought from Tesco. It is a pay-as-you-go SIM card, and no one has ever added credit to it. There's no monthly bill. Someone comments, sorry OP, but you are wrong. Interesting. You're hurting the people who raised you. If Bio Dad wanted to be in charge, he should have been the one to raise you. But he either couldn't or wouldn't, and that doesn't really matter. He should, at the very least, have more respect for your parents who stepped up. Bio Dad is being manipulative and showing a great deal of immaturity. I know that as a teen, you are likely just wanting to side with the person who is offering you what you want. This is a mistake. This is one of those selfish sort of sided decisions.
Look, I'm cutting this off right now because this is overboard. Just like how the amount of restrictions on the phone for a 15-year-old is overboard. You can't call or text anyone besides your foster parents after 8 p.m. You have a half hour of free use throughout the day. You're 15. Everyone you know has a cell phone and can probably do whatever they want with it. Of course, you're going to feel like this is not fair. In my opinion, overboard.
Right. I agree. I think that commenter was basically saying, like, you should listen to them because you're parents. And if you are a parent, you should not use that reason to, like, control your kids.
Right. Being a parent doesn't just automatically make every thought and suggestion you have the right one. And you shouldn't be teaching kids that because it makes them sheep followers, just looking to who's the person who knows better than me, who can tell me what to do or how to think.
Yeah, exactly. Like that commenter and OP kind of went on for a little bit, basically like debating who the real parents are. And so it's like, I don't know why that commenter is just like, whoever is legally your parent, they have absolute control of you and get to say what you want.
If this kid's 9, I agree with all of those restrictions. I don't even think kids should have like smartphones until they're at least somewhat cooked in the brain. At 15, it can be a discussion of like, all right, let's roll some of these back. You know, you can talk to your friends after 8 p.m. That's crazy. That's like, come on. Even at like 12 years old, I didn't have that level of, restriction.
No, absolutely. The top comment comes from 83 Pooley. OP, not going to say that you are in the wrong because of your age. I'm also not going to say that your carers are in the wrong based on the information you've provided. I'm coming from the position that I previously was a foster carer as well as a worker within the law enforcement system. Your biological father is making a power play here. You may not see it because generally speaking, kids in care tend to see even the worst parents as being on a pedestal. For whatever reason, you've been in foster care for the majority of your life. A good portion of that time has been under the roof of your current carers. Whilst I appreciate that at 15, you think that you should be able to do what you want on your phone, you need to understand that your carers are most likely just looking out for your best interests. Your biological father, for lack of a better term, is throwing in a grenade. In my opinion, he may be doing this for a few reasons. 1, to prove to himself or your caseworker that he is a good parent because deep down he knows he isn't. 2, to drive a wedge between you and your carers in exactly the way it appears to have. 3, because he cares about you genuinely and thinks that getting you an extravagant gift will somehow make up for you being in care since you were 6 years old. Honestly, it could be a mixture of the above. Regardless, though, he should have discussed such a gift with your caseworker and carers, if there is contact between him and them, to make sure that it was okay, and so that he could discuss the rules surrounding usage of the phone with you. If you legitimately think that your carers are not doing what is in your best interest, then you should speak to your caseworker. Let them be the mediator, as they are basically in charge. If there are possibly also things occurring in the background that you are unaware of. For example, the court or department in your jurisdiction that deals with children in care may want contact with your birth parents to only occur when they are aware of it. Your carers could simply be following rules that a court or your caseworker has outlined to them. If you think that they are on some level being reasonable because they care for you, then perhaps sit with them and discuss how at age 15 you should have more freedom. This could look like having the parental controls but with less restrictions, or it could be without the parental controls but with your carers able to look at your phone, messages, and photos when they feel that there is a need and without notice. For example, they know how to unlock the phone. At the end of the day, it is about trust. Show them that you can be trusted with more freedom, then they'll likely be more willing to become more lenient as you get older. Try to make sure that regardless of how the conversation goes with your carers, that you keep your cool. Good luck. That's a great comment, I feel. A lot of insight there.
I agreed with definitely a lot of that.
Yeah. Some of the things like location and stuff, I get why teenagers don't like that, but I also get why parents would want that, to make sure that like you're safe. But access and restrictions to like your pictures and messages and stuff, that I think is more a breach of privacy for sure. I feel like, some restrictions might be okay, or you can figure out some sort of compromise, but others, not so much.
It's a conversation at the end of the day. You're 15, you can have a conversation with these people. You're old enough to communicate with them on adult level to some extent. Like, you're not equals, but you're 15. You're going to be legally an adult in 3 years.
OP is ultimately voted not the a-hole. And we do have an update, which is 3 days later. I wrote this post on Thursday. I just didn't get the chance to post it until now. So Henry and Aaron actually took me to McDonald's after school today, the day I am writing this. And they said to me that they could tell that I was upset with them and asked me to explain my feelings to them. I explained how I felt really frustrated that they told me that the parental controls were because they bought the phone, and then when my dad bought me a phone, they still put the same restrictions on. They said that they were sorry that they gave that impression and that they could have explained it better. They asked which restrictions I had the biggest issue with, and I said how I can't text or call anyone unless they approve it, and how the phone locks at 8 p.m. and I can't use it, and that I only have 30 minutes on YouTube or TikTok, and that I can't have apps like Snapchat, Discord, Instagram, etc. They said, okay. They understood why I was upset and frustrated, and they said that they will discuss with my social worker how they can lighten up the rules while still ensuring that I am safe. They said that they don't want me having a long time on the phone because they don't think it's good for me, but they said in the meantime they will increase the limit to 1 hour for YouTube and TikTok, and that they will increase the bedtime thing until 9:30 p.m. I think this is a fair compromise. I said that they seemed upset that I got a new phone in general, and they said that they weren't upset at me, but were upset at the situation. I asked what they meant, and they said that it was something between them and my dad, and I didn't need to worry about it. So maybe that commenter was kind of onto something about the dad having a power play here.
Definitely makes a lot of sense. I still think that the root issue, that's like a separate thing to me. Yeah, dad's making a power play. But this is more like you have a 15-year-old, young adult, teenager, whatever. Like, you're only going to do two things by keeping these restrictions as, like, intense as they are. You're either going to, like, just make OP craftier, and they're going to find a way around it, or you're going to create this tension, and then it's going to snap back at some point. And once they get that freedom, they're going to go overboard on it, which is a problem in and of itself.
I appreciate that the parents are communicating like this, because I feel like there's more that's going on that like we don't know, and maybe OP doesn't quite know. So, at least they're talking about it. Like, I think if that's the case, then communication is really all you need, and they were not doing a great job of it before.
I think 15 is old enough to start having some of those harder conversations about like what's really going on in a complex situation like this.
But I asked them to carry on, and I had to kind of persuade them to tell me what the issue was between them and my dad. They had actually bought an iPhone 16 Pro Max for Christmas for me and had told my parents and my social worker that they had bought it and were going to give it to me for Christmas. But my dad bought one before that they could give me theirs, and they felt upset that their big present had been ruined. But they said that that wasn't my fault, and they didn't mean to make me feel like they didn't care about what my dad got me. Honestly, that made me feel upset. I asked my dad why he bought me the phone if he knew that Henry and Aaron already did. He said that he didn't want Henry and Aaron to have to give me something so expensive. But I said that they already bought it for me, and he knew that. I said that that was unfair and that he shouldn't have done that. And he called me ungrateful. I asked him how he would have felt if it was the other way around, and he left me on red. Oh, great. I actually feel really upset for Henry and Aaron that my dad did that to them, and I actually feel guilty even though I didn't know that they had already bought me one. I'm not sure what to do now. I could give my phone back to my dad and have it Henry and Aaron's, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Henry and Aaron said that it wasn't my fault and that it doesn't mean that my dad is a bad person, which I know, but I do feel really angry at him. Here's what you do then. You keep the dad's phone and then they return theirs and then you get the money from it.
It's pretty straightforward. It's like he was just trying to be dad number one. People are complicated. I don't think you were ungrateful. I think you were just trying to be like, hey, was this about me or was it really about them?
Yeah.
Because it feels like it was more about them and getting one over on them than it was getting me the thing I actually wanted. It was like you're doing both, but which one was really pushing you to do it? Like if you didn't hear that they had gotten me that phone, would you have still gotten me the phone?
Exactly. Because I feel like if his issue was like, oh, like I didn't want them to spend the money, then he would have talked to them and be like, hey, no, like let me pay you back for this.
If anything, it feels the opposite. He's like, turns out you spent all that money for no reason.
But we do have a second update, which is 3 days after the last update. I'm writing this from the school IT suite. I just wanted to share something. Firstly, it makes me really uncomfortable that people were sending me hate messages and passing away wishes to my dad. People were messaging me saying that they wish he... Oh, wow. Sorry, but you people need help. It's not normal to treat people like that, and it's not normal to say things like that to people.
Yes. 15-year-old discovers internet comments are not always the most gracefully put.
People were accusing me of being blindly loyal to my dad, which simply isn't true. I've said so many times that my dad isn't a great person, but that doesn't mean he's a sociopath or that he deserves to pass away. It's so crazy that I get downvoted for saying, bruh, calm down a bit, please, when I respond to people like that. Anyways, my dad is still ignoring me, which is making me really upset. I've sent him some messages just basically saying, how's you? How was work? And stuff. And he's left me on read every day since last Thursday. So I've decided that I'm just going to leave it. And if he wants to talk with me again, he can come to me. Henry and Aaron said that they felt really bad because they said that they shouldn't have told me about what my dad did. But I said that I'm glad that they told me. I decided that I would keep the phone that my dad gave me and we'd return the phone that Henry and Aaron bought me, and we're going to use the money for a trip to Drayton Manor where we have the fast passes so we don't need to wait in any lines, and we're going to take my little brother also. He doesn't live with me and Henry and Aaron, which is going to be so much fun, and I'm really excited for that. See, boom, let the dad spend his money and you guys can go on a fun trip.
Exactly.
By the way, we've got more full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. All you have to do is search OK Storytime. So easy. There's a little bit more to the story. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
OP's going about this right for 15-year-old, I think. And it's like, I think it shows the foster parents really care about OP. They're just worried about OP. And they're like, we're sorry, we shouldn't have told you that about your dad. And OP's like, no, I feel great. I would prefer to know that. I'm 15 now. I'm going to grow up. You're doing the kid a disservice if you continue to restrict their ability to access.
He can handle this kind of stuff. I think they're learning that. There's a little bit more to the story. I just want to clarify some things. I am long-term matched with Henry and Aaron, which means that I am never going to be reunified with my biological parents, even if they became super parents with no flaws. I am matched with Henry and Aaron, so I'm staying with them until I'm 18. This has been the case since I was 11-ish. There have been plans for me to move back in with my parents because, to be honest, neither of them want me to. Sounds harsh, but it's true. And I like living with Henry and Aaron. Also, both my mom and my dad have children with other people now. We're still a family, though. I just have a very big, very weird family. And that is the end of that story.
A perfect perspective to have on that. My family's just big and weird.
Complicated. But that's the end of that story.
My cousin revealed my diagnosis to my grandfather. Now everything's in chaos.
Was your diagnosis that you're a chaos wizard?
A year ago, I, 25 male, was diagnosed with limb onset ALS after a long struggle with experiencing foot drop and muscle weakness. For a few months, I hid my diagnosis from everyone until progression of the disease forced me to come clean. By the way, this comes from a live specialist, 8287, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Keon, and that's Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. To be honest, I'm still coming to terms with this, and each day has been a living heck as I wake up not knowing what motor skills I'll lose next. I have always been fiercely independent and the protector of the people I love, so it unalives me knowing that everyone who loves me, my girlfriend especially, now has to bear the burden of my illness. The one person I haven't told is my grandpa, who raised me and my brother until we were teens because my parents were at work at the time. He's the one who cared for me the most, who has literally watched me grow up. I have always promised to take care of and give him the best of everything because he sacrificed to give me as much of a happy childhood as he could. Ever since I was diagnosed, the thought of having to tell my grandpa that his grandson has an incurable degenerative disease has plagued me. And I don't think I can gather up the courage to tell him or to face the fact that I can't fulfill my promise. He's nearing 70, and I want him to live as happily as possible without worrying about me. The other day, we met for a family dinner. I don't see my grandpa very often now, so before the dinner, I was adamant that my grandpa would not find out. My brother and girlfriend agreed to cover for me using a wheelchair by saying I've been injured playing soccer. Grandpa accepted the excuse, and all seemed to be well until my cousin, who wasn't aware my grandpa didn't know, brought it up. As I expected, he was devastated and couldn't stop asking me why I didn't tell him. Later that night, the sudden emotional shock likely triggered his heart condition. He has a history of heart attacks. My grandpa is now in the hospital, and I haven't been able to stop crying.
Oh, man.
My brother is furious at my cousin for revealing my diagnosis, and even more so for not being apologetic, since she's insisting that it's my fault because I should have just been honest with Grandpa. She called me manipulative and a liar and said that it wasn't my place to decide whether Grandpa could handle it or not.
See, the thing is, though, it literally is because it's your diagnosis. So your cousin's way out of pocket here.
Absolutely. It's not entirely her fault. It was an accident. It is not okay that she's responding like this. She could be a lot more apologetic.
Yeah, but he's in the hospital now because of a heart condition, so it makes sense she's probably being defensive.
Yes.
There's a lot going on here. It's hard. It's hard breaking terrible news like that to somebody.
Absolutely. The guilt is eating me alive, but at the same time, the aftermath just tells me that I was right to hide it because the news absolutely crushed my grandpa. I don't know what to do anymore except to pray that my grandpa makes it through. Am I the a-hole?
No.
And there are some comments, but of course you're not the a-hole.
There's not really any a-holes here. It's just it was a misunderstanding. I mean, yeah, your cousin's not acting right, but it's like it's an extreme situation.
Yeah. I mean, you're going through such a I don't even know how I would react in that situation. So I don't think it's fair for anyone to tell you what you're supposed to do and what the right answer is, because I don't think there is one. But I think that all my advice for you is spend the time that you have left with your grandpa, where you have, not saying that we don't know how it's going to end, but it is, again, you lose a lot. Comment 1, not the a-hole. Oh, love, I'm so sorry. That's such a heavy diagnosis. You're not an a-hole, but at 69, your grandpa could live for another 20 years. You weren't going to be able to hide it forever. And he's a grown man. He doesn't need protecting from reality. He'll be devastated for sure. Who wouldn't be? His precious grandson facing such a hard prognosis. His heart will break, but that's part of life. And the earlier you know about something horrendous, the sooner you can start to process it, Your cousin didn't realize you hadn't told him. She's not an a-hole for bringing it up. It's a big thing, and your loved ones are going to want to talk about it. It's awful that your grandpa is in the hospital, but that's the best place for him to be, and I'm sure they're doing all they can for him. And it is not your fault or your cousin's fault. It's natural to want to grasp onto blame when bad things happen, but it doesn't really help. Give yourself and your cousin some grace. You've both had a very human reactions to a crap situation. Someone replies, maybe the cousin wasn't the a-hole for bringing it up because they didn't know, but their reaction afterwards turned them into one. Calling a terminally ill person a manipulative liar for wanting to tell people on their own time isn't crappy behavior. Reply, I mean, OP asked his brother and girlfriend to help him lie to his grandpa. I'd say that's pretty manipulative. In the cousin situation, I'd feel horribly guilty for triggering grandpa's medical episode, but also feel incredibly angry at OP for making this something that I'd done wrong. How was the cousin meant to know that grandpa was being kept in the dark? And then feel guilty again about being angry at my terminally ill cousin. And then I expect I'd end up doubling down because seriously? What was OP thinking? That he'd just lie to grandpa until one of them passed away? OP, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Do you have a therapist you've been talking to about your diagnosis? And OP says, I don't have a therapist, and quite honestly, I haven't thought about it, but perhaps I might look into it. It's just that care for ALS is so dang expensive, and the costs are just going to increase from there, especially as it progresses. And there is an edit. Thank you all for your responses, and especially to those who express things from my grandpa's perspective. Not sure how much this changes, but my cousin's husband saw this post and now cousin is livid. My brother just got off a call with her, and apparently he did actually tell her not to say anything and let me take the lead. Just that she highly disagreed, so I guess this was her way of voicing her disagreement.
Well,
Now she's the a-hole.
now she's a huge a-hole, actually.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because I was wondering why the brother was so mad at her if she didn't know that she wasn't supposed to tell, but now it's makes sense that he was mad at her because she knew that she wasn't supposed to tell anyone. I didn't know about this part, so I assume benefit of the doubt that she didn't know. Again, appreciate everyone, and will hopefully be visiting my grandpa as soon as we get more news about his condition. Consensus, no a-hole here, though there are some upvoted you're the a-hole and everyone sucks comments, mainly because I told everybody but my grandpa. And it was clear I couldn't keep this secret forever, so I should have told my grandpa early instead of waiting until I couldn't hide it anymore.
Yeah,
and
dude.
there is an update. I think it's really unfair to label OP an a-hole for this.
Yeah, you're an a-hole for being a human being, complicated emotions.
Yeah, dealing with one of the hardest diagnoses. But there is an update 18 days later. Appreciate everyone who commented, both support and honest criticism. Been making the most of whatever time I have left since then. Some of you were sharp and picked up that my ALS is fast progressing, which is very accurate considering how recently it's felt like jumping off one cliff after another, which I'm pretty shocked by. In a way, I do thank my cousin for spilling my secret because I didn't expect how little time I had before I couldn't hide it. My grandpa did pull through, recovered, and handled things like a champ. He's not in perfect health, and obviously neither am I, but we make it work. Per everyone's suggestions, I visited him ASAP and we had a long talk. I showed him my post as well, with lots of tears and emotional moments. I apologized for hiding my condition and promised to be transparent from now on. Although I got nagged and lovingly lectured at, I do think I felt relieved to get that emotional weight over with. Grandpa said a lot, and I can't include everything, but the main two things were, he already sensed something was off, though he wasn't sure what exactly, and definitely did not expect ALS. He needs no protection from reality and wants to support in any way he can. He'll be moving in with me and my brother, and we're looking at hiring caregivers so my brother's not overwhelmed. I've begun voice banking due to speech changes, mostly hoarseness and a slight slur, basically like a wasted Mickey Mouse. While the people closest to me can still somewhat understand what I say, Grandpa tops everyone else and is proudly serving as resident translator. Honestly, a pleasant surprise how well he gets my speech, but I'm so grateful he's gifted me these precious moments amidst the frustration. I've since gone low contact with my cousin for a variety of reasons, namely constantly disrespecting my wishes. The major one being that she came into my house knowingly with a cold, even while we had already warned people not to visit if they were sick in any form. ALS screws with my immune system, and at this stage, it's very easy for my respiratory system to become compromised, even with minor illnesses, minimal breathing issues so far though. By the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
You know, maybe look into like some support systems online, some forums, some communities. If you can get some level of like, you know, just help with coping with it. No, I'm just sorry. I'm sorry you're going through this. It's terrible.
Impossible situation to deal with. But I'm glad that you have people around you who are, you know, there for you and love you and care a lot about you. I've learned a lot about myself and life in general through this disease, and given the aggressive progression, I am now mentally preparing to make some hard decisions. When I first learned about my diagnosis, I rejected tracheotomy, invasive ventilation, and a feeding tube, but recently I've begun to reconsider. I think the worst feeling is just being terrified of both living and passing away, trying to stay in a good place mentally and emotionally, and always grateful to have people I love and who love me by my side. I know this update isn't all sunshine, but I hope it gives some closure. Thanks, everyone. That is the end of that story. But anyone who's ever gone through, who has a loved one who is either passed or is going through ALS, some hearts in the chat for you, because that's a terrible, terrible thing to go through.
My fiance pays other women while I drown in debt, keeping us afloat.
Stop paying them.
And there is a trigger warning for emotional.
Uh-oh.
I, 28 female, have been in a relationship since I was 20 with my now fiance, 34 male. When we started dating, I was just about to turn 20 and he was about to turn 26. I had a very difficult home situation where I was emotionally mistreated by my family. I grew up being tormented to the point where it gave me anxiety, depression, and PTSD. I haven't spoken to my family in 7 years. By the way, this comes from user ScarletWitch69. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
We're here. We're here right now to give you a little bit of good advice, goofily. We don't have all the answers, we only know what we do. So if you do something different, let us know in the comments. NOP says, I was working at a gas station when I met my now fiance, Chad. Of course, it's a Chad. He would flirt with me until one day my manager gave him my phone number and he asked me on a date. Everything about him seemed perfect. He listened to everything I had to say, and I gave him a brief synopsis of my life, including my family situation. He came over that night after the date to meet them and saw it all firsthand. My stepmom basically told him she didn't trust him or me. After that point, whenever we went on a date, he refused to come inside or be anywhere near my parents. He said if he was forced to be around them, he would end up yelling at them, and he didn't want to do that in front of me. But he also felt like he couldn't control himself. This guy is the guy that sounds perfect? Also,
I don't know. I've been around a lot of annoying people, and I don't have to control.
Yeah.
I'm able to control the urge to yell at them.
We can have self-control. We can do that.
That's a little concerning to me.
And what concerns, maybe perfect was just a
misnomer.
Embellishment. But I think after one date, I don't think we can tell if a guy's perfect.
Well, yeah, I think people embellish that after. They're like, this guy's perfect. And then he's not.
Everything seemed perfect. He listened to me once. I probably should have seen that as a red flag right from the start, but I didn't. My parents saw it as disrespectful and did everything in their power to convince me to break up with him. This drove me right into his arms. He would come pick me up to get me away from them, and he made me feel special and beautiful. A couple of weeks into our relationship, he revealed that he had a son from a previous relationship.
A couple of weeks?
That's something you do pretty much immediately, though.
Yikes.
The story I got was his baby mama was psycho and wouldn't let him see his kid, and told the son that the man she was with currently was his real dad, not Chad. This should have also been a red flag, but I trusted him fully. Fast forward a couple of years and he reveals that he never intended to get married, and if that's what I had in mind, then I should either get rid of that thought or leave the relationship. And that should have been our cue to leave.
Yeah.
If that's what we want.
That's the end.
He said his view on relationships had been ruined because of his parents splitting up and the drama with his baby mama. I thought maybe I could change his mind, so I stuck it out. 3 years into our relationship, he proposed and said that I changed his mind about relationships and marriage. I got excited and immediately started planning, including picking a date 2 years in the future. He then started telling me that he felt like he was being rushed into marriage and that this wasn't what he wanted. When I asked him what he wanted, he refused to tell me and instead got angry. I stopped discussing wedding plans, and we have not discussed a wedding since. Fast forward to 2022. The day after Christmas, he spontaneously quit his job without a backup plan. Then he started working at his buddy's mechanic shop for cash under the table. The shop was already struggling, so there were many weeks where he would just not accept any pay and would literally just go there to hang out. Sometimes he would get paid in the devil's lettuce instead of cash.
What?
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 I had to get overtime and do everything in my power to make extra money. About 4 months later, the mechanic shop went under completely. Now Chad was back to square one with no job, and I was paying all of the bills on my own. He then accepts a job as a farmhand for $100 a day. That worked out great for about the first week and a half. After that, the man who had hired him started calling him less and less. He was making absolutely no money, and I was busting my tail to make sure the bills got paid. He would also pick up scrap metal for cash, but this was usually only around $40 to $100 per load. Shortly after work started slowing down at the farm, I started picking up on weird behaviors with his cell phone. I noticed he never left it unattended. The phone practically comes in the shower with him. He had been leaving his phone on the towel rack next to the shower so he could see it from inside.
That's suspicious.
I know what he's doing.
That's pretty suspicious, OP.
No.
That's totally normal, I guess.
He's waiting for job applications. He's submitting all kinds of job applications.
He gets pop-up notifications whenever there's scrap metal near him.
Yeah, he's got
metal near you.
He's got the metal detector app on.
Hot scrap metal in your area.
Fast forward to June 2023, literally a week after I signed our updated lease agreement for another year, he cashed out his entire retirement plan from his previous job, which was only about $12,000. He blew through that entire check in 1 month on toys he didn't need, including a new cell phone. One day I was sitting in the bedroom and he was outside mowing the lawn with his new phone, but he had forgotten to turn off the old phone. Someone sent him a text message and the old phone received the notification. I looked at it and saw it was a woman that I didn't know he was friends with. I went through the messages and saw some of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Photos, videos, propositions for spicy mouth stuff. And for every single one of them, he was paying her outlandish amounts of money. She would send him 2 photos and charge him $75 to $100. That's a whole day's worth of scrapping.
Yeah, this guy doesn't even, he's not even making enough money to support OP and him. And he's sending all of that money that he does get to this?
This is immediate, just pick up and leave. Don't say a word.
Yeah.
Get away. Get out.
Get out of there.
Don't even say anything.
Get out of there.
Chad is very old-fashioned and doesn't do money transferring apps. He does everything with cash. So that meant he was meeting up with this woman multiple times a week to pay her in cash, in person, for her pictures. When I asked him where he was getting the cash from since he wasn't working, he revealed it was all from his scrap metal runs.
Dang, scrap metal runs are lucrative.
He was giving her about 75% of his earnings and only bringing home about 25%. I confronted him immediately and left. He spammed my phone, crying and begging for me to come home, saying that he was a pig and that he would never do it again. I went home and he told me he was going to cut things off with her anyway. Stop it.
Don't fall for it, OP.
Stop
Don't
it.
fall for it. I can feel you falling for it. Don't fall for it.
I told him that I would not believe his apology until he told someone else what he had done. I wanted him to tell his own mother, who had recently been cheated on, but he refused because he didn't want to ruin his relationship with her. He instead promised he would never speak to the other woman again. Why?
And that's
did we
not
stay?
what you said.
That doesn't matter.
It's not what you asked for, and he isn't going to do what you asked for, so you're going to leave, right?
A few months later, I found out he was still trying to proposition her for spicy
Of course
sleep.
he was. Why did we think he wasn't?
She reached out to me to say he had been messaging her. I had decided to stay with him when I found out the first time. After talking to her, she revealed that he had told her I was boring and never did anything for him spicily sleepily. I confronted him again, ready to break up with him. He told me she was lying.
And we didn't believe him, right?
He was my first relationship and my first real love, so I blocked her again and believed him. It took a big toll on me mentally and caused me to lose complete trust in him. We now track each other's location. There are still times when he's not where he says he is. If I confront him about it, he immediately gets angry, saying that the mistake he made was in the past and that I need to move on. I agree. You should move on.
From him.
Exactly. By this time, he had finally gotten another job on the books after not having one for about 9 months. But his hours started getting shorter and shorter. If he went in and was in a bad mood, he would just pick up his things and leave. He would stay up all night on his phone,
and then call out of work. He constantly called out to go hang out with friends. This job doesn't provide paid time off, so if he calls out, he's not getting paid. It started feeling like he was becoming dependent on the fact that my job and my paycheck helped pick up the pieces. I have no savings, and I'm over $8,000 in debt from credit cards I've maxed out and personal loans I've had to take out to pay our bills. Fast forward to early summer 2024, and I walk in on him texting long paragraphs to another girl.
I don't know. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
He quickly shuts the phone off and claims it was a friend from high school, Mindy, asking if there were apartments available in the area.
And we didn't believe him, right?
I didn't know he had been talking to this girl or that they were close enough for that.
They aren't.
I also didn't understand why she was reaching out to him considering she's married with 2 children. I looked her up on Facebook and realized she looked exactly like the first girl I caught him cheating on me with. I kept my mouth shut and couldn't get my hands on his phone again to get real proof.
But why do you need real proof? You already have proof that he's cheated on you multiple times.
You are drowning in pudding, and that's where the proof is.
Yeah.
Fast forward to June of this year. He went to a friend's house and accidentally left his Apple Watch behind. I went into his text messages and found the conversation with Mindy. He was offering to give her rides on his motorcycle, which he hadn't even offered to take me on yet. I then found a conversation where she was saying that her kids had been taken away by CPS because of substance use, and she was being forced to go into a treatment facility. Her husband was looking for a place to rent, and she was asking Chad if she could come and stay with him after she got out. Chad, instead of telling her he was in a relationship, told her, "Sorry, I just don't have the room, but I'll give you money and help in any other way I can." So again, barely working and almost never giving me any money, but the minute another woman asks him for money, he suddenly has tons of it. I pay the entire electric bill every month, the entire internet bill, all of our subscriptions, and all of the loans. I pay for the entire propane delivery and the entire grocery bill. I literally pay for everything, and every now and then he'll contribute $50 to $100 to me. We are $3,000 behind on rent. We have a past due amount on our electric bill of $1,400, and that doesn't even include the $8,000 of debt I've racked up. The only bill he's responsible for is his car insurance, which is just over $200 a month, yet somehow he has let it lapse 3 times in the last year and a half. He doesn't even have a phone bill because his rich aunt pays for his phone. Out of curiosity, I did the math. If he can make $400 a week, that'll be approximately $1,600 a month. His half of the bills comes to approximately $778. This leaves him with an extra $822 a month he can use for his car insurance, whatever he wants. But he claims he keeps buying tools off of the tool truck, and half of his paychecks go towards that, and the other half goes towards people he owes money to for his devil's lettuce. So when he gets a paycheck, he uses it all, paying other people for things he doesn't need, and then whatever he has left over, he uses for gas and snacks. Once again, I'm left with nothing for the bills. Back to the Apple Watch, I then kept scrolling through the messages and found some labeled Dirt Bike 2. The only text message I saw was basically about how they'd been meeting up, and he thought everything was okay, and now he can't get her out of his head, and that his friends keep telling him to drop it, but he can't. Girl, I know that you're like, I need evidence that he's cheating. He already cheated on you.
Like multiple times. And you
already
have
did that.
proof that he already cheated on you multiple times.
So we don't need any more proof.
Yeah.
He did it already.
I think OP's just very afraid of being alone and is being gaslit by this guy and just believes it because she doesn't want to be alone. Because obviously, you know, like if this were a situation where she felt like she was in danger or like threatened, it's a different story, and, you know, it makes sense why she might be scared to leave, but it doesn't seem like we're in that. So, yeah, I don't know.
So, I copied the phone number and texted her from a fake number asking who she was. She told me she's a girl's girl and will tell me anything, but as soon as I told her who Chad was, she started sending 2-word responses and eventually stopped answering. She claimed that nothing happened and that she thinks he and I should have a conversation. When I tried to get to the bottom of the text message, she ghosted me. I started to have suspicions that maybe it was his baby mama, so I looked her up on Facebook, and lo and behold, he and her were friends on there. And when he told me, he had blocked her. I still haven't confronted him, but I'm 95% positive that Dirt Bike 2 is her.
Yeah.
You should be 100% positive.
Gotta be more positive about that.
Come on now.
Trust your gut, man. Trust it.
So now I'm in a position where I know that he is still talking to not one, but 2 women behind my back. Dirtbike 2 didn't even know how he was in a relationship and was very shocked to find out we had been in one for 8 years. I am 100% convinced he is not being faithful to me. I no longer have any trust for him, and because of that, I have grown a lot of animosity towards him. It's getting to the point where I genuinely feel like I don't have any love for him because all I see is this person who's still lying to my face while treating other women better than me behind my back. If one of these girls sends him a long paragraph text message, he reads through the whole thing and sends them back another message of equal length and emotion. If I send him a text message that's more than 2 sentences, I get yelled at that I'm bothering him, and he doesn't have time to read all that. So many people have told me to just leave him, but my name is listed on the rental agreement, and my credit will tank if this goes unpaid. I haven't confronted him yet because I know as soon as I do, he's just going to leave, and then everything will really fall on me
But it's
until
already
I'm
on you.
able to leave when the lease is up next May.
Wait, so if you break up with him, he'll leave, and the rent that you're paying for, you have to pay for?
OP continues, the extra $100 or so a month that he contributes is the only thing that ensures I can eat some days or put gas in my car or get to work. Well, by the way, you can get full episodes with stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. And you can listen and scream into your phone for this woman to leave this man, which is exactly what I want to do. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, if you truly think that you cannot afford to live without him, then take a minute. I guess don't break up with him right away and start looking for new jobs. Start looking for a second job.
Start scrapping.
Start looking for cheaper apartments when your lease ends, you know? Start doing the scrap metal thing. Apparently that's super lucrative.
Start scrapping, girl. It's time to get scrapping.
Or kick him out, get a roommate.
Literally any solution other than like, I can't break up with him because I need $100 a month.
Like $100?
What?
We can get that in a lot of places, girl.
Come on.
We can get that. We just got to do some research now.
So they usually send us the lease agreement to review and sign a few months before it comes due. So I'm expecting to receive it sometime in February. This is when I plan to confront him, so that way we both have time to get our affairs in order and find a new place to live. But I know he is not going to contribute during that time, and the amount that we are past due in rent is just going to skyrocket. It puts me in a position where I'm going to have to be the one to pay that balance if I don't want to see my credit suffer. So I'm going to have to work on paying that back on top of paying rent for a new place, which is most likely going to be more expensive. All in all, I'm no longer happy. I don't trust him, and I know I'm still being cheated on. My concern is after everything that I went through, am I truly just being psychotic, or do I have a reason to be suspicious?
What?
Am I doing the right thing by ending this relationship?
Yes!
Or since we've been together for so long and he was my first true love, should I continue to fight for it?
What?
Dang.
You're fighting demons, girl. Leave him.
I hate how hard that the pop culture phenomenon of like first love and true love has like brainwashed people into thinking that, well, because of that is a thing
you
that
have
you can't
to
leave.
Yeah. No.
You should have left the first time he cheated on you.
You literally said you don't love him.
Let this be a lesson to everybody. You should have left the first time he cheated on you.
My mother-in-law called the CPS on me just because I refused to clean her house.
What does that have to do with kids?
Okay, so context. This January, I, 22 female, was in a squabble with my own mother and was out of a place to stay in the middle of the night due to the fight being really bad. My boyfriend, 21 male, picked me up. Just to be clear, around this time, I was about 4 months pregnant. I have been there since, and my mother-in-law is just so odd.
You got that bad mother-in-law. Thanks.
By the way, this comes from Stunning Trouble 196, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
I'm still here, guys. I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And Opie says, I was working up until my 8th month of pregnancy and paid her rent, $250 from both my boyfriend and I, plus is both paying and going half on the bills with her as well, excluding Wi-Fi because she works from home. But she would complain to my boyfriend about me not working as much as she feels like I should. How about you stuff it? Okay? Gosh. Never mind the fact that I was never late on rent or struggled paying bills at all. It's crazy for her to say when you are still paying rent, like you're still paying $250 on rent every month.
$250 on rent, half the bills, not including it Wi-Fi.
And you're 8 months pregnant. Like that's when you go on paternity or maternity leave.
It's the Spider-Man guy. Please pay me rent. Give me rent.
Get me rent. She felt I should be working the full 40 hours and I was in the house too much for her. You're pregnant.
This is why we move out if we can, but it seems like sadly we're not in that situation. Oh, dang.
So I stopped staying in the house and chose to spend all of my extra free time when I wasn't with my boyfriend out with friends. That arose new issues as she felt that I got around too much for a pregnant woman. What do you want from me?
Rent.
Literally, what do you want?
I want the movie Rent.
She complains about everything, and all in all, just made my first pregnancy miserable by being nasty. She doesn't like that I go out. She doesn't like that I stay in. She doesn't like that I stay in the room that we pay what adds up to $800 monthly for a single room in her home that me, my boyfriend, and our now 2-month-old share. She doesn't like my family. She doesn't like how much caffeine I drink. To make a long story short, she's judgy about every little thing I do.
Oh, that's the best type of person to be around. Someone that always confronts every little thing you do and makes you question yourself.
If you're together paying $800 on rent, I feel like we could find something. I feel like we could find something else. Recently, we have been constantly arguing about cleaning arrangements. I clean up behind myself and my boyfriend as I'm currently a stay-at-home mom who exclusively breastfeeds. So the baby is taken care of and cleaned after by me as well since he got his shots for daycare about 3 weeks ago, and I have not had a chance to get back to work yet. I do this cleaning behind us 3 daily. My mother-in-law, however, claims that I'm selfish and closed-minded for not offering to help her clean her messes. She wants you to clean her messes? You pay rent. You pay rent. And you have a baby. I.e., vacuuming every day, mopping her floors, and putting away dishes she used only. We gotta go.
A mediator would work so well in this situation, but I don't think the mother-in-law would even give him any time of day.
Or like a real estate agent. Now, I never had an issue with cleaning, but due to my discomfort, I rarely leave the room. Most days not even to eat, and only when I cannot hold my bowels anymore. To add on top of that, she has 6 animals living in the house. Oh, yikes. 4 dogs and 2 cats. 3 of the 4 dogs are large breeds, so they make quite the mess daily and shed a lot of fur, hence why she has to vacuum daily.
You poor thing.
You have 6 animals in a house with a baby?
I guess you could call this an animal house.
She claims I am being a spoiled brat by telling her that I was raised to be responsible for myself and my own mess, and that if I live with her, I should be offering to help her out. This is the same woman that knocks on our door, then opens it without permission to tell us to put our own dishes away, wash our dishes in the sink, which never is more than maybe a cup or spoon alone in the sink. Yet she expects me to do those things for her as well. I just would like to know, am I really the a-hole for only cleaning up behind my own child and soon-to-be fiancé? I really feel like the pets are not my responsibility because I never had any due to the fact that there's so much work. And they're not mine whatsoever. She's trying to punt me out and keep my baby with her and feed him formula over this. So I would really like to know. And we've got an update. I'm sorry, OP. What was that last part?
That's what I was about to say.
What was that last part? I don't care about any of the other stuff. The last part? Ooh, you talk to your husband, you ring him up, you say, or your fiance.
Soon to be.
Soon to be fiance.
The boyfriend?
It's a soon to be, soon to be fiance.
I know he's going to propose. I just don't know when.
It's coming up. I
That
swear.
means I'm a soon to be fiance.
Yeah. You don't know.
Keon is also a soon to be fiance.
Could be I have a soon to be fiance.
We all
We're all good,
In
guys.
technical terms, we're all soon-to-be fiancés. Just how soon?
Update. I've been reading everyone's comments about everything, some urging me to do more and most telling me that I'm not crazy and confirming that my mother-in-law should be cleaning her own mess. Well, ladies and gents, I have to inform you that after a weekend away from this woman, my son and I came home to have another dog there.
Oh,
So let's do the math. That's 5
7.
dogs and 2 cats.
7 animals. meaning more mess for her to complain about me not helping to clean. I will further update if this leads anywhere, but for the most part, I'm just angry since she got paid $100 and magically has a new $500 puppy, a Saint Bernard.
Those are big boys. They're so
Oh,
cute.
they're so cute, but that is a big dog.
That's a big boy.
I bet you all the rent money you're
Just been
giving
paying the
her
dogs.
is going to feed them.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of dogs to feed.
Holy cow.
You need to go. You need to get out of there, like ASAP. That is my. I think you talk to your boyfriend, and you say, "We gotta go. Your mom's trying to take my baby. We gotta go." Update 2. We moved out. Woo!
Yes!
Love to hear it. Getting here was a doozy, and we're much happier now that we have been gone for several months. I guess I should continue the tale of my monster-in-law. In addition to all listed things above, she made being in the house more hostile by placing cameras around the house to watch me and my official fiance.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, official fiance. Okay. Towards the end of the endeavor, my fiance and I did not pay them any mind and wrote it off as her being nuts. Now we are both smokers and neither of us were allowed to smoke in her home, which is a fine rule and not a problem to follow. This time, however, we waited until we had put our, at the time, 3-month-old son to bed for the night, since it was the only time he would sleep for a long enough stretch of time. We couldn't afford official baby monitors, but we both have iPhones, so one of us FaceTimed the other and left one phone in the bassinet with the baby and took the other with us outside so we could see and hear him. We were standing on the other side of the house at this time in the driveway and had not even been outdoors for a full 5 minutes before his mother locked us out of the house and called the police claiming we abandoned our son. But the whole time you have him on FaceTime. And baby's like, you go to the police and you're like, please, our son's on FaceTime right now. And baby's like,
He worked a very hard 9 to 5 today. Okay.
Look at him. He's trying to get some rest. He's got work in the morning.
Due to him having a bad feeling, my fiance left our bedroom window that was accessible from the front porch unlocked just in case she tried anything, and luckily he did. He went inside and so did I, where I retrieved my baby. She then waited until my baby was in my arms to try and attack me, which my fiance stood in between us and shoved her back.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to shove you back from listening to full episodes of stories just like this, so I'm going to welcome you. Because you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left to this story, but
I hate you had to come to this part
Yeah.
before you had to move out.
Yeah, that was a way too many things. And again, like, if you're experiencing a lot of this stuff for a while and you're still total, spending $800, I would have been looking for just especially with the 6 animals. The second that the grandma or the mom-in-law says anything about taking your child, I'm out of there as fast as possible.
It's tough. I'm glad you're out. I'm just glad it happened. That is crazy. What happens? I'm scared if I have the monster-in-law mother-in-law or if Angie has the monster-in-law mother-in-law.
What? I thought you liked it.
Oh, I do. I'm just like, it's got to be one.
It has to be one
It
of you.
doesn't have to be one. You can have mother-in-law, so you don't have to have a monsters-in-law. What if it's both?
Can't be. Statistically, it has to be one of them. All the time.
But Ming Ming's talking about the smoke, and honestly, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, you got a baby? You guys should stop smoking.
Yeah, just get out of there. I'm glad you're out of there. Golly.
Not too long after, the police arrived, and she gave her false narrative, and we gave our side, which the police told her she had no right to force her opinion on us as parents, and basically that she needed to stay in a grandparent's place and accept that we will ask for help when we need it. She was very proud to boast about CPS having to be notified due to there being a child involved, thinking they would take our son. They did not, nor was an investigation open due to the nature of the situation and us not being the aggressor. Shortly after that, she got a protective order against me for her safety because I threatened to hurt her should she ever do anything like that again and involve my defenseless infant just to violate herself by stalking me and showing up at my house when she's not even supposed to be within 500 feet of me. Am I the a-hole? Oh, B, what are you talking about? No. Come on, girl. Comment 1. Where does your hub stand on all this? What chores does he do? He should be shouldering just as much household responsibility as anyone else that lives there. OP says he's on my side since he does physical labor jobs for up to 15 hours a day. Ooh. He usually only has energy to take on my share on the weekends, so I can manage cleaning during the week. He also cleans, cooks, does laundry, and cuts the grass. Usually we save big cleaning for Sunday, but she wanted us to clean beyond daily upkeep. I'm not opposed to cleaning, but her pets, 4 dogs and 2 cats, well now it's 5 dogs and 2 cats, create most of the mess she complains about. And that is not my responsibility. And that's the end of the story.
All right, I'm really need some answers right now. Guys, do you have a monster-in-law in your family?
Let us know.
Raven Run says, you don't have to have a monster-in-law in every relationship. For example, my mom is dead, so my husband missed out on the monster-in-law. That was the monster-in-law. They're just deceased. See? I think neither my mother or Angelina's mother will become a monster-in-law, but with time, we'll tell. We don't know. These are how these stories go. We don't know who it'll be.
Monster-in-law could also be anybody. It could be your brothers. It could be Angie's siblings.
It has to be. Well, yeah. Oh, the sister-in-law too. I very rarely hear stories where it's like the brother-in-law monster-in-law.
We hear so many
We hear
stories
so
about
many
that.
stories. What are you talking about?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
What are you talking
Like,
about?
just from today.
But it doesn't come off as like it's like monster-in-law
It's
or
just
like.
because it doesn't have the same ring as monster-in-law.
I guess so. Yeah.
My friend and her boyfriend acted inappropriately at my wedding, so I ghosted them.
Ooh, it's me, the ghost.
I, 26-year-old female, got married 5 months ago to my now husband. My best friend, let's call her Abby, 25-year-old female, was one of my bridesmaids. We'd been best friends for 5 years after meeting in World of Warcraft, and she felt like family to me. By the way, this comes from U-Happyhorse41. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r-OK Storytime subreddit. So I live in the Midwest and she's down south. Over the years, I flew out to see her a few times because she couldn't afford the trip to visit me. Abby had a rough past, leaving home, an abusive father. But despite it all, she was kind, funny, and someone I could talk to for hours. When I got engaged, I didn't hesitate to ask her to be a bridesmaid. My husband was a little unsure since he never met her in person, but I brushed it off. Abby was amazing. How bad could it be? The bachelorette weekend. I was so excited to fly Abby out for my bachelorette party. It was her first time meeting my other bridesmaids and family, and I couldn't wait to have her there. But from the moment she arrived, I realized she wasn't the same Abby I'd known. She kept steering every conversation towards spicy sleep, specifically her spicy sleep life, and loudly talking about how she wanted to get her genitals pierced. She dropped F-bombs in front of my grandma and mother-in-law as she didn't seem to read the room. So I'm not a prude and I really don't care what someone does with their body or who they're with, but why talk about that in front of people you've just met?
Yeah, exactly.
Let alone grandmas and mother-in-laws. The worst part was that I couldn't relax or enjoy myself because I spent the whole weekend worried about what vulgar or inappropriate thing Abby would say next. I couldn't just hang out with my other bridesmaid or let loose. I told myself she'd tone it down for the wedding since how could she not? It's a wedding. Spoiler, she didn't. The rehearsal dinner. When the wedding weekend rolled around, I was optimistic. This was also the first time meeting her boyfriend. Let's call him John, 26 male. I thought maybe John would balance her out or rein her in, but I was so wrong. Yeah, the two options are like, honey, chill. Or the other option was like, yeah, honey, tell him.
Yeah.
If anything, they fueled each other. I'm a super relaxed bride. I went with the flow, didn't stress about the little things, and genuinely just wanted everyone to have a good time. I wasn't going to micromanage people's behaviors. But Abby and John took it to a whole other level. To note, I learned a lot of this story after the wedding. I was devastated. For people out there, please tell the bride when something this bad is going on. I should have punted her out of my wedding party after the bachelorette weekend, but I wish I had uninvited her to the wedding after hearing all of this. At the rehearsal dinner, Abby and John decided to tell anyone who would listen that they're in a polygamous relationship. Again, cool for them. I'm all about people living their lives how they want, but why would you preach about it to strangers at a wedding weekend? Actually,
That doesn't feel that weird.
I don't agree with OP here.
Yeah.
That is just them talking about their relationship and the status of the relationship. And I don't think it's offending to be like, hey, I have an alternative relationship orientation that is not monogamy. It is polyamory. It felt really awkward and made a lot of family members uncomfortable. Not out of judging, but out of the randomness of the comments. So to make things worse, I later found out they were loudly flirting with one of the waitresses and talking about bringing her back to the hotel. Whether it happened or not, I don't know, nor do I care to know. The wedding day. The actual wedding day should have been the happiest day of my life. But Abby and John still found ways to add unnecessary stress. We are at the venue pre-ceremony. John volunteered to grab the Jell-O shots my dad had forgotten at the hotel that we wanted for the post-ceremony trolley, but instead of coming right back, he took over an hour because he stopped at a liquor store. My dad was panicking, thinking John would miss the ceremony, only to learn he decided to get himself booze over rushing back to the venue. At the reception, Abby openly asked multiple guests where she could buy some hoo-ha. At my wedding, I was horrified. But some of the other things I was like, but for this one, just loudly asking people like, may I buy some?
Yes.
Where
it's
can you show me?
Hi, does anyone have any felonies in their pocket? It's like, dude, at this point, this person needs to be like, hey, we'll see each other later. I think you need to be gone.
Yeah. And don't even get me started on John. Earlier, he gone to the liquor store to get himself a giant bottle of whiskey and finished it during cocktail hour.
Dude!
Mind you, we had a fully stocked open bar, a no-limit open bar, and even a martini wall. He didn't even need a personal stash of whiskey, but I guess he just wanted to let loose. So now John is completely wasted by the time the dance floor opens up, which could potentially save the wedding. During this time, John kept dragging my grandma onto the dance floor even after she told him no multiple times, because of her bad hip. At first I was like, that's sweet, he's including the grandma, but she's like, my hip, and he's like, get over here.
She's actively like, ah!
She's like, you better do the Cupid shuffle with me another time.
God, dude.
When she finally gave in and the hip gave in, he danced so closely to her that she told me later how uncomfortable it made her feel. He was also soaked in sweat. He was wearing a maroon shirt and it showed everything. Sadly, my grandma was not the only victim. Multiple people complained about John trying to grind up on them. And if he wasn't trying to, Abby was.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And it's only $5 a month. So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
Dude.
There's just, throughout the night, Abby kept asking me if I had to, and if I said yes, she dragged me into the bathroom and started taking off my dress before I could get her to stop. My sister was my maid of honor, and due to my dress style, it had to come completely off to go to the bathroom. So my sister and I had to sneak away for me to use the bathroom in peace since Abby wouldn't take no for an answer. Abby would even get aggressive towards my sister if she tried to step in to help me. So she does have to take the dress off to go to because of the style of the dress.
Right. And Abby's like just trying to be like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to.
Yeah, I'll take your dress
she's
off.
Like,
And
no,
she's like,
don't.
no.
I'll do it. And she's like, no, I will.
Yeah.
Ugh. These people are trash and need to be left in the internet where you found them.
Yeah, it's just getting more and more uncomfortable. Now the bride is uncomfortable by her own friend and is feeling like, and especially in like around like nudity and stuff, and being like coerced into that. By the end of the night, I felt like my wedding had become the Abby and John show, where everyone had some insane story to tell about them. Scene, the fallout. The Tuesday after my wedding, people kept coming to me with more stories about Abby and John. The Tuesday after my wedding, people kept coming to me with more stories about Abby and John. I had to beg them to stop because it was running what little joy I had left from the day. I haven't texted Abby to tell her how I feel. It's not because I'm trying to be cruel or a bad person. I genuinely don't know how to approach it. I have massive confrontation anxiety. The thought of bringing this up makes me physically ill, and I've always been the kind of person who avoids arguments at all costs. I hate being angry at people, and I'm usually the first one to forgive, but this time I just can't see how I could possibly move past what happened. My husband thinks I should never speak to her again, especially for making my grandma dance when she repeatedly said no. My family is so put off by her behavior, and my family is the most laid back, amazing individuals you'd ever meet. It's really, really hard to make them uncomfortable. It's been 5 months and I've barely spoken to Abby. She still reaches out, and even John has texted me to ask if everything's okay, but I can't bring myself to respond. I'm not trying to ghost her to be mean. I just can't see any way this conversation ends well. I don't have it in me to open that door again. But by the way, if you want to open a door, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. Open that door handle, push it open, come on in. I think OP understands that she needs to confront. So I don't think that's up to debate. She just doesn't know how.
Honestly, like sitting here, like thinking about it, it's almost like I think for OP's personal like life, they should confront to get out of their comfort zone. But like they obviously don't need to continue any relationship with these people whatsoever.
Sure. I know people will probably say I shouldn't tell her how I feel, that she has a right to know, but what she did really hurt me. Nothing she says will fix it. I don't want her in my life anymore, and that feels awful to admit because I cared about her so much. So, am I the a-hole? And we do have an edit.
Clearly, no. Clearly not the a-hole.
Yes, you are not
Clearly
the a-hole
not.
for not wanting this
person low-key almost
that
like ruined your
basically
wedding.
ruined your wedding. Edit. To answer some questions, I haven't blocked her yet, even though it's been a while since the incident because I had hoped time would heal my anger, but months went by and I still feel the same. Time usually does not heal emotions. Just so
Nah,
you know.
you can. It's okay. You can cut this person off. They're bad. They're no good for you right now.
Yes. Comments. Comment 1. I'm sorry, but what is the last sentence? She has a right to know. After all this, you think that's what people will say? People would want you to tell her how you feel, not for her sake, but for yours.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that you could get closure. Also, if you're not going to talk to her, at least block her and let it go. Like another person said, what are you hanging on to? This friendship has ended. Either accept it, block her, and move on. Let her know her behavior at the wedding was unacceptable. Block her and move on. What more is left? I agree. Like, I think like a decision just needs to be made and be done with it so you can move on. Comment number 2. You do not need to talk to her. You could tell her how you feel about the way that her and her BF behaved and that they ruined your wedding memories. Tell her she need not respond because you don't want to hear excuses. You are done with her in the friendship, then block her from everything you can. If something slips through, delete it without reading it. Do not engage with her anymore. Comment 3. This isn't a confrontation. Since you're never going to see her again, you can say anything you want. Get it all off your chest, then block her. Maybe it'll inspire you to get a backbone. You should have cut her loose after the hen party. The good news is, in a few years, and the other guests will be laughing about this. OP replied, I agree. I wish I dropped her after the bachelorette party. I thought about it too, but that would have put my anxiety into overdrive, and I probably would have been the one who ended up apologizing. A backbone would be nice. Do they provide free shipping? As for laughing about it, it is quite the story. Haha. Right now, I'm still embarrassed whenever someone brings it up. I hope I could laugh about it in the future. And that is it.
Yeah.
I hope you can laugh about it in the future too.
My daughter thinks her grandmother is deceased. Should I tell her the truth?
Yeah. What?
I, female 33, have 3 daughters, 6-year-old twins, and a 2-year-old. One of my twins, over the holiday period, said to one of my friends that her mommy's mommy is in heaven. This really shocked me when I found out. By the way, this comes from BandyXOX91, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So for context, I was out of the house when she said it to my friend on the phone. I had just nipped out to pick up a family member who was coming up to us for Christmas Day. I found out when I was taking my partner to work that day. Later in the evening, my daughter began talking about her family, saying that her daddy's mommy and daddy live far away, and that her daddy's mommy's mom lives far away. Did you not teach them what grandparents were or what the title of that was?
Yeah. What's going on here? This shouldn't even be a discussion. It's explain.
The only family we have close to her is Mummy's nanny. My nan spoke up and asked her, what about your mummy's mom? To which my daughter came out, no, she's in heaven. My nana went to press her a bit more about why she thought this, and I abruptly interrupted and asked my nan to come and help me with something in the kitchen. Well, now my nan has spoken to other family members, and I've had my phone blowing up with vivid opinions. I have some family telling me I should tell my daughter the truth, and that her nan is not passed away. She is, in fact, alive. She's just too busy. And I've had others tell me that I should just leave it alone. FYI, she's not too busy. She's unemployed, has no hobbies, and is home all day playing games on her tablet or phone. I have a very strange relationship with my mother. For background, growing up, I ran away from home at 15. Her actions towards me as a child given me years of body image issues, self-esteem problems, and I'm trying to get over them. I'm in therapy for over how she treated me as a child. When I first had children, I was very much set on her having nothing to do with my children, but my nan convinced me to give her a chance. When my children were small, she would make all the effort to go over and see them, constantly wanting to be around them, giving them cuddles, and just show them lots of love. Then they stopped being such cute little babies, and the distance crept in. Then I had my youngest, and again, she was there. There was one incident that absolutely made my blood boil. My youngest was only a week old when we took her over to meet my nan, and my mom was there. And after my nan had finished having a cuddle, my partner went to go and put my youngest back in her baby carrier when my mother said it was her turn. The oldest of the twins was sat on her lap at the time. She said nothing to my daughter about wanting to have a cuddle with her new baby sister. Just pushed my daughter off her lap so she could hold the new baby. She was 4 at the time, and she ran off in the kitchen, crying her eyes out. Okay. When I asked her what happened and what was wrong, I was furious. My partner came and confirmed what happened, and my partner and my sister managed to stop me from going and ripping her head off. That was the first time my daughter ever asked me, "Why doesn't Nana love me?" And my heart broke. Real quick. This makes sense why she's in heaven in your little girl's eyes.
Starting to agree with that sentiment, yeah. A little easier to be like, oh, she's just not here, other than like, well, the truth about Gram is, well, she's on the naughty list.
Yeah, because that would be hard to like think about as a kid.
Well, if you were going to do anything, you could maybe break it down like that. If y'all do Christmas and she knows Santa, you can just be like, Grandma's on the naughty list, so we don't hang out with her. But then that might, I don't know. This is really, really hard.
It seems like the easy route, and it seems like, oh, this is best for everyone. Anywho, when my youngest turned 1, we moved away so that we could afford to give our children a better life. Since moving, she had even less to do with my children now. She didn't want to call them on their birthdays, and over the festive holidays, we've heard absolutely nothing from her. No text, no calls. I speak to my sister regularly, so I know nothing bad has happened to my mother. It's just that she can't be bothered to find out how her granddaughters are doing. My sister doesn't want children, so my children are the only grandchildren for my mother. I guess what I'm asking is, am I the a-hole for not correcting my daughter when she said that her nan is passed away?
What, she's like 5, right?
Yeah, 6 now, I think.
Just get in front of it, dude. You got to fix it, but then also be like, she's not gone, but like she doesn't like us?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's how do you explain to a 5-year-old that your mom or their grandma is like, you can't.
Technically, I never said she was, I just said she was in a better place, and that place was not near us.
Oh, you got me, mommy. You tricked me. I understand.
Edit to add, I have never said to my children that my mother has passed away. We just don't speak about her. I've left the lines of communication open for her to reach out since we moved. I used to try calling her regularly, but she would rarely answer, so I stopped calling her. She never calls.
Conspiracy. Mom was on the phone talking to somebody. Blah, 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 blah. She's to me. Little kid hears. What was that? What was that?
That is true.
Little kid eavesdrops. They all do. You eavesdropped as a child.
We got an update. Keon, what do you grandma dead or not?
Just lie to your kid. Like, if the grandma sucks, I don't want my child near that person and being inspired by that person.
If you lie to your kids about Santa, you can lie to your kids about grandma.
What do you mean by that? Santa's real.
That's the lie. Santa's real. Oof, that's like a fear I have of accidentally doing that.
Well, my phone blew up with loads comments. And thank you for everyone's advice. I sat my daughter down and tried to explain that her nan is not passed away, that we live really far away, and sometimes people get a little busy and don't realize how much time has gone by. She got very upset, and she couldn't understand how someone could be so busy that they never call and never answer the phone. I did have a conversation with my mother via nan. I was around my nan when my mother called her. The conversation that began with my nan was basically saying how I'm an awful person and a terrible parent. My nan shut her down. Told her I was there. Told her to talk to me. Nan handed me the phone, and my mother proceeded to just blow up at me. She started saying things like, "How dare you tell my children she's passed away? How dare I move her and take her baby so far away? How dare I keep them from her?" I raised my voice, speaking over her. Get your facts straight. I moved to give my children a better life. I have never stopped her from making contact. She is the one who never picks up, and that phone works both ways. I never told them she passed away, but what does she expect when she makes zero effort with them? I reminded her that even when we did live close, she never made an effort to see them. Heck, My non would have them 5 days in a week when I finished maternity leave so I could go to work. And she lived literally around the corner. She never even bothered to go see them. Yeah, I have a grandma that, like, if you want to visit her, it has to be on her timing, not your timing. And it's really hard. One time I had to get together that was like 5 minutes away from her.
But it wasn't her time.
Wasn't her time.
Yeah, and then she doesn't try to make it guilty though, right? Does she own it that it has to be her time?
My thought is like she's older. She has like CPD or whatever.
Oh, COPD.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
Can't
Well, then it's
breathe
really
right.
hard to do anything when you have COPD. Your lungs just don't
Yeah,
really work
and she
that
gets
well.
like really excited. So like I understand it does suck. I'm like, grandma, I'm like right down the road, but I'm like, I'll just do whatever. You're too old. My thought is like, am I gonna make something out of this? That's not. She's older. I'm just gonna see her. My non moved so she could enjoy her retirement and comfort, and I moved to give my babies a better life. My mother lost it. She screamed down the phone, "You ruined my life. All you've ever done is ruin my life. I brought you into this world. I can take you out of it. It's a shame I've not been successful in the latter." Yes, you read that right. My mother has attempted in the past to take me out. Her last attempt was a glass in my PB&J, but that's a whole nother story. Her attempts have always been something that can be passed off as an accident. Okay, girlfriend, I think your grandmother is in heaven and she's in a better place, and we're going to have nothing to do with her. If she's going to do that to her own daughter, who says she's going to stop at her grandbabies?
Right, exactly. It's when she's making like actual threats of physical harm. Grandma's in the beyond place.
Yeah, she's burning. I mean, in a better place.
Did grandma go to heaven? No.
After the glass incident, I went no contact. But when I had children, I let my nan convince me that she had changed. I let her back in, but she dips in and out of my children's lives. She has even accidentally given my daughter foods she's allergic to. Again, that's another story. We went low contact, and my mother was never allowed to be alone with my children. It's been 4 months since she's called to speak to my children, and the last time I spoke to her was when she called my non. My non handed me the phone. That was last week. At its ad, I was naive to believe that my mother was capable of changing. I guess I just wanted to believe that maybe one day my mother would love me and that she would be proud of me and my family. The only access she's ever had was at a family member's home before we moved, i.e., if there was a family gathering and she was there. The incident when she gave my daughter food she's allergic to, she claimed she didn't realize it contained the allergen. I believe it was an accident, as there were two foods identical, one with and one without the allergen. But after this, I put in very strict rules that only me or my partner could give my daughter any food at family gatherings. Yeah, I'm like really confused why this wasn't brought up earlier this point about the allergens. She seems to like to do things with food, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, she's a danger.
Yeah. To clarify, the only contact she had after we moved were phone and video calls, which slowly stopped when she stopped calling and answering. I only called if my children asked to talk to her. But we want to talk to you right after this story. All you got to do is go to your favorite freaking podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio app, and search up these beautiful words.
Okay, story time.
And there, we will stay in contact in harmony for 53 days straight.
Actually, I think it's like 58. Frank the Pug told us our math was different.
I'm just going to finish the story. My non has never wanted to believe that her daughter would be capable of the things she has done to me. Well, now my non is 74, and her mind isn't quite all there anymore. And if you want to know what I mean, I've tried to tell her of the I suffered as a child, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. I tried to explain the times she has attempted to take me out, and I saw how much it broke my non. I don't want to keep telling her how awful her daughter is, so for now, rather than breaking my non's heart, I've opted to keep contact lines open in as far as my mother calls me. I'll answer. When my non passes, I will close that contact down, and I will remove my psychotic mother from my life.
Wow, what a day that'll be.
That will be a sad day.
Well,
Sad
hey,
day.
well, dang. Honestly, at the very beginning of this story, I was like, oh yeah, OP's about to be wrong. Should I tell my daughter that her grandma's still alive instead of not? I'm like, well, yeah. But now I'm like, hey, don't let your grandma take you out. Come on. She's nefarious.
My sister kept asking me to babysit for free, and I've had enough.
Start charging her.
I am 29, female, child-free by choice. My sister Clara is 27, female, has 2 boys, ages 3 and 5. We live close to each other, and I've been in their lives since the beginning. We are each other's only family, and we come from a broken and dysfunctional family. I love the boys, but they are a lot of work, especially on top of my own career in social work and my personal reasons for not wanting kids of my own. By the way, this comes from user pretendmode9494. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And OP says, I watch them probably 10 to 20 hours a week currently, and it's getting exhausting. The times I've been needed have slowly increased over the last 7 months. At first, it was Clara looking for a part-time job, going to mandated courses to get unemployment, occasional movie nights with friends, which I was okay with. Now I spend most of my free time at their house. Lately, the cause has been that her best friend's mom is passing away and Clara needs to be there. She's a single mom, and I get it. It's hard. But recently, I feel like she's using me, and I rarely see my fiance as we both work shifts that change all the time. Sometimes when she's asked me to watch them and I've had other plans, Clara sends me a voice message of the boys crying, missing me, and guilt-tripping me, saying it's such a shame I care more about myself than them.
What? What?
That's actually insane.
She's like, guys, whip up some tears really quick. I need a babysitter tonight. That's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, I need a free babysitter tonight. Telling me she would ask someone else if she had anyone else to ask. Saying really mean things about me being selfish for wanting to enjoy date night when she has to choose between her kids and her best friend's ailing mother. I could handle if that's all it was, but now it's also affecting the next time we meet. When I get there, the house is a mess, there's nothing to eat, and they happen to have a day for a shower. Or Clara casually mentions I need to put together a gym bag or something similar for them the next day.
Are they not showering every day?
They're not.
That makes it sound like she's showing up to give them a shower.
She's literally trying to make you the nanny.
Yeah.
For free, no money, no recompense whatsoever. That's crazy. These weird extra things that are obviously revenge. Before she got home, she casually asked if I had done the extra things, and when I hadn't, she suddenly had to stay a little later. This happened a few times, and I'm ashamed to admit it took me too long to understand what was happening. Another thing she does for revenge is not prepare meals for the kids or even leave money. Stop doing this. Just stop. When I go to the store, she promises to pay me back, but tries to guilt me into saying she doesn't have to pay. She's also not kept her word about things she'd promised, saying she doesn't want to do things for me if I can't help her with the boys. Last month, she promised to pick me up after leaving my car for maintenance, and she didn't show up. I was stranded. It took her 2.5 hours to answer her phone and get there. She also had the audacity to huff and puff about how inconvenient it was. She had to drive me.
Oh my God. It's costing OP money to watch these kids.
Yeah.
Because she's buying everything for them.
And she's neglecting and abandoning her children.
Yeah.
And she's just lucky that she has OP to take care of them. Sorry this is so long, but it's mind-blowing writing this all down and seeing what I'm putting up with. I'm such a doormat. So yesterday, I told her I couldn't come today when she called, desperately needing me to watch the boys for the evening. And when she started her tirade of me being selfish, I kind of just snapped. I told her to shut up and listen. If she thought I was that horrible of a human and so selfish, she had two options. Either stop relying on me so much and letting her kids be exposed to my selfishness, or I'll really start being selfish and will not watch them free of charge ever again. Never do anything extra without being compensated. She hung up without saying anything. And there's your answer.
Yeah,
Good
you're not
for
going. You do not have to watch the kids for free tonight.
Or ever again. After I had stopped shaking, I hate confrontation, as you can imagine, I started to really panic, as I feel like I just lost my last remaining family member. You lost an actual parasite. My fiance said it was a long time coming, and I should have stood up for myself ages ago, but he's biased, as he loves me. I don't really have time for proper friends outside of work colleagues, so I don't know who else to ask if I made the biggest mistake of my life. What if I don't see my nephews again? What if I had just done it a bit longer and she'd eased a bit? That was never going to happen.
She was never going to do that.
Girly.
Unless she had been showing signs already of getting better or listening to you at all, she was not going to get better.
Update. A lot has happened. During the first 24 hours after me telling her that ultimatum, I decided not to answer her calls or texts to let her cool down. She called 77 times, sent over 100 texts and voice messages. They're mostly just her calling me a horrible person who abandons her family. Blocked. Blocked, immediately blocked. I outlined a few rules with my fiance's help for the future if she comes to her senses and agrees to my terms. I had conditions like I could watch them up to 3 times in 2 weeks, not more than 4 hours at a time. Meals needed to be provided, no bath time or bedtime. I'm not spending any money. And I got messages from an unknown number saying how horrible of a sister I am because now they have to watch their mom pass away alone without Clara there to comfort them.
Huh?
Do these people not know what babysitters are? Based on the suspicions I had earlier and the language similarities, I think this was my sister pretending to be her friend.
Yeah.
I talked to my supervisor on Friday afternoon and asked for her opinion. We made a report together on Clara. The supervisor said it's better to do so, especially now that it's escalated, and she might retaliate against me by hurting the boys in some way, as she's obviously not above that. I'm probably going to give her next week to cool off before resuming contact, and depending on what the messages say then, I might contact her. If they are as harmful as now, I probably won't respond at all. It makes me unbelievably upset, but I hope the boys will also get a more stable environment without me, as she's using them as pawns with me. Thanks for the messages and the reality checks I obviously needed. For some reason, I've become blind to my sister's behavior and was only concerned whether I'd lose the boys from my life. Update number 2. CPS called and asked for more info, which I provided. They wanted to know specific dates and whether I had proof, and I sent them a lot of screenshots of messages with Clara. I chose to make the report with my name on it as I felt like it added credibility. I've had one Zoom appointment with a psychologist through my work. It's been great so far, and I already got homework on boundaries. I haven't heard from Clara or the kids other than the harmful messages. I'm ashamed to say I've driven by the house a couple times just to see if everything looks normal, and it does. I had a talk with my fiance after a commenter suggested the kids might need to be removed from Clara, and if we were planning on fostering them if it came to that. We are not. We don't want kids and have known that from the beginning. The day-to-day life as a family with kids sounds absolutely horrible, to be honest, and there's nothing about it that appeals to us. We don't even want pets. We would become resentful and probably would lose ourselves in the process if we went there. And there's a third update.
I have nothing else right now.
Yeah, I think, she's clearly not, like, broke enough to not be able to afford, I don't know, driving to see her friend or going out or seeing whatever.
Right.
She has the money to be able to pay a babysitter. So it's insane that she's treating you this way.
If she doesn't have the money to pay for the babysitter, she shouldn't go out and do things that are using the money that could have been for the babysitter.
Right, and if
Or
she's
the
just
food.
like, I imagine maybe she's just like leaving the kids at home by themselves. Can't do that. We've got a third update here. Today was my birthday. I'm 30. Yay. And I just had an ordinary work day. When I got home, my sister was waiting for me. Clara congratulated me and actually seemed normal at first, but when I couldn't behave like I normally would, she got irritated. She said she'd known I never loved the boys and was only jealous I didn't have kids, and I tried to make them love me more, and then I'd falsify reports to CPS and get custody. I actually kind of laughed. It was so ridiculous. I told her I don't even want kids and wouldn't take hers even if they were offered. Dang. I hope the kids didn't hear that.
I wouldn't want your kids even if I had the chance.
Yeah, if they were like, you can take them, I'd be like, ugh.
And the kids are just behind her like, but why? We love when you come over.
Right.
We
and
get
I
showers.
And I love when I come
we
over.
get showers and food.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's sad. Oh,
I was going to say, I love
The
when I
poor
come over because
babies.
I get to leave. But now it just feels mean.
Sad.
I don't want your kids. I don't want any kids. It might have been a cruel thing to say, but I'm just so tired. She somehow got angrier and said how horrible the boys will now feel knowing I'd abandoned them and proving I didn't love them. I knew I couldn't win with her, so I just asked why she was here and where the kids were. Clara said their whereabouts were none of my business, and she was here to tell me I'd never see them again. I'd accepted that as a possibility, so I didn't really react, which made her even angrier. She tried to grab me, but I stood about 6 feet away, so she couldn't reach me, and I just ran inside the building and closed the door behind me. She followed, so I shouted through the door that I would call the police if she didn't leave. She banged on the door and left without saying anything. After around 20 minutes of just breathing, my fiance came home from work. I was still on the floor, so he obviously freaked out, and I told him everything, and he said we should make a police report and also update the CPS people about Clara's irregular behavior. It's getting late and I can't sleep, worrying about making the police report tomorrow and wondering what to tell CPS. And there's a fourth update a month later. Let's get into it. Sorry it took a while, but I've been trying to keep busy as I miss the boys. I haven't heard from them at all since my sister was banging on our door. CPS has been in contact a few times, but as we let them know, we wouldn't be willing to take the boys unless absolutely necessary, not even for a short foster placement. They haven't been telling us as much about their situation. So as far as the boys go, I've accepted I'll probably never see them again. I wish that if I can keep tabs on them, I can reintroduce myself when they're 10 years or so older and have their own phones. It's far away, but I have to have something to look forward to. CPS is actively still investigating. My sister failed to show up to mandatory meetings and wasn't available when they tried to reach out to her, and at least once, Clara arrived at the house without the kids just as CPS came by, and they realized the kids had been home alone for the time Clara was gone. Clara said she just dropped off something the street over, so she was gone for less than 3 minutes. I don't know if I believe that, and the CPS didn't think so either. The reason we don't want to take the boys is mainly our health. I have a chronic illness and my fiance's in a wheelchair. Makes a little more sense now.
I mean, it made sense anyway. A lot of people don't want kids.
No, but I mean just why it's like absolutely in no way are we doing this. I'm chronically ill. My husband is wheelchair bound. And these are a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. We are not equipped to take care of 2 kids who are toddler age. We live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and having the boys' beds and stuff would make it inaccessible for a wheelchair, and that is just not okay. In addition, we just don't want kids at all. I don't think I'd be a great parent, and I can't expect my fiance to parent either, as he didn't sign up for it. I hope the boys are small enough so that they are easy to place. It breaks my heart, but at the same time, I just can't do it. There's a 5th update. Let's get into it. The first court date came and went without my sister there. She did not show up. The next date was set for late July, and they issued fines if she didn't show up again. The boys were placed together with a family, and they resumed contact with us and wanted us to meet them. They are now 4 and almost 3. It had been around 10 weeks since we last met, so they were shy at the beginning, but I think at least the older one recognized us. They looked healthier, gained some weight, and overall just better. I hadn't even noticed they looked bad before now, but with the improvement, the difference is clear. The July court date also came and went with no word from my sister, so then the court had to decide if they make the decisions without her. Apparently, it's not common to have family court about custody issues with no legal guardians present. Who knew? But, by the way, I know you can listen to more full episodes with stories like this. Maybe a little less intense.
Not as much like this.
Not as like, this was really bad. I'm glad that these kids are not
They're
with
not
their mom.
going back to that mom
They
either.
should
If she's
not.
showing up, they're not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they had, it sounds like they just didn't have food now. I thought OP said it was like, yeah, I think it's like when I babysit them, she just
That's
like
what she
takes all
made
the
it
food
sound
out of the
like,
fridge.
but I think they genuinely might have just not had any.
I don't think that mom put the food in the fridge. But anyways, you can listen to full episodes with stories like that on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you got the full archive available to you. All right, let's finish this story. I just wish this was all over, obviously, but it's not my call to make, so I'm just focusing on building a relationship with the boys. I see them around once a week, either alone or with my fiance. We could apply to see them without supervision, but have no need to. We understand the boys need to be protected as they have practically no one. We still think we did the right thing by not taking them in. Fiance had a scary summer with pneumonia, and we wouldn't have been able to be with the boys. I'm content with how things are. I wish none of this happened, and I feel really guilty, as it seems my sister's mental health was tolerable before I started to push back, and now she's unrecognizable. Stop it. Your sister's deteriorated mental health is not your responsibility or your fault. Please. That's crazy. So I'm starting to feel guilty about that. Not that I've seen her in months, but still. My fiance said he thinks the breakdown was inevitable and just happened to happen now. Agreed. And that is the end of that story. I finally snapped at my fiance's ex, and now she's being investigated.
snapped like a rubber band.
To preface before reading, I was nice for months. Then I turned to ignoring her and blocking her. But this woman is the AITA of drama. She just keeps coming back. And I finally snapped. By the way, this comes from Lots of Flats 3910. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give you good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. As OP says, my fiance's baby mama is the most emotionally unstable person I have ever met. She can't help but start drama at least once a day. She repeatedly texts my fiance daily and complains about everything, and then tells him everything is his fault, that he's a bad dad and a bad man. Mind you, he is probably the best father I have ever met. And everyone we know says the same thing about him. She'll spam text him articles from social media claiming he needs to figure out his inner trauma and that he has childhood trauma, which is completely untrue, and that he's pushing his issues onto his 3 sons. His parents are still happily married and are amazing. She comes from a broken home and is on her 3rd marriage, as she has cheated on every single ex. Well, her current relationship is a fake marriage, as it was done out of the country without a marriage license. But she wears a fake ring and posted pictures on social media telling everyone she was married. Recently, my fiance told her he was going to file to amend their child agreement to set some major boundaries. Their current agreement is the most gray and fluid thing ever, not setting any schedules or policies. She had free legal aid and he had a crap attorney. She flipped out. After parent-teacher conferences at their son's school, she blocked him in the parking lot with her 3 sons in her car and stood there sobbing about why would he do this to her. Remember, he only wants to update the schedule and add some rules as she drops the kids off whenever she pleases and follows 0 schedules. She wouldn't let him leave and kept crying louder all in front of the kids. She then proceeded to tell their sons that he's a bad man, that he's a bad dad, and he's going to try and take the boys away from her and never let her see them again. She then had her 6-year-old FaceTime my fiance, bawling his eyes out, asking his dad why he was trying to take him away from his mom and why he was being a bad man. If that doesn't scream alienation, I don't know what does. That was just one of hundreds of things similar to that she's done. However, this week she decided to take some serious jabs at me. As he shows me everything and tells me everything, I became fully aware of the drama she was starting again. She had the audacity to say, we don't even know each other and aren't in a real relationship because we don't live together. I have 3 kids as well, and out of respect for our children, we chose not to move in with one another until after we're married. She said our relationship is unstable and bad. She called me a bad mom. She refused to speak to my children when she met them and said something is off with me, and that maybe he's whipped because of spicy sleep, because why would he ever want to be with me? We have been together for over 2 years and have never had a fight. We've even done family vacations with all 6 kids and have had the best time. This is the most stable and amazing relationship I've ever been in. Regardless, she went on to say that she doesn't trust me, that I have issues, and that he shouldn't trust me, and he needs to really ask himself if he's in the best situation. This is after she told him last week that sometimes she regrets ending things with him. It was also the same day that her faux husband caught her on Tinder. I asked my fiance if I could text her. Oh, why would you do that? I sent him a draft and he said, at this point, go ahead. She's not going to listen anyways. So I texted her the following message. Anna, this is Lindsay. This can go one of 2 ways. Way number 1, we either get along and you drop the drama, or way number 2, I will become your worst nightmare.
Ew, that was my worst nightmare.
Here's the difference between me and you. You are unhappy, miserable in a relationship, depressed because you barely work and have no social life. You're stuck because you have everything paid for, and if you didn't have Peter, you'd be on food stamps. You manipulate Charlie's children, lie to them, and try to cause alienation towards the best dad ever. All it takes is one call to DCFS, and you're screwed. I understand that you're jealous of Charlie and I. He's in an extremely happy relationship. His parents love me. My parents love him. Your boys love me. My kids love him. We have never had a fight. There is nothing he wouldn't do for me and my kids, and the same goes from me towards him and his kids. You cheat on everyone you're with, can't figure out how to be happy, but then gaslight every guy in your life to say you have trauma. Give me a break. Your trauma is people calling you out on your BS. You put out this persona that you have it all together and everyone else has problems. Stop diagnosing people from the dumb crap you read on Instagram. You sound so uneducated. You already know how sad your life is and wish you hadn't pushed Charlie out because he was the best thing that ever happened to you. You Google me, see that I'm in a legal case with my landlord, but what you don't know is that it was filed over inhabitable issues that he refused to pay on. I'm winning my lawsuit because he will pay me $50,000 because I have some of the best lawyers in the state. I don't live off my parents or my fiance. You think you're an internet sleuth, but in reality, you are a pathetic joke. I have a very successful business and 95% custody of my children. I know my worth. I know my status. And if I like you, I'll go to war for you. We are not the same. My attorney drafted an entire custody order for Charlie to drop on you. 20 pages long that will royally screw you over because you're living illegally out of state, but he is too nice of a guy to slap you with it. If it were me, you would have lost custody months ago. The alienation you try and cause, having your 6-year-old FaceTime Charlie sobbing because you're an emotional head case, that alone is valid for you to lose custody. We're documenting everything you do. You're a hot mess of a train wreck, pushing your emotional mess onto Charlie's children. If your oldest tells you soon he only wants to live with Charlie, don't be surprised. They see how psychologically damaged you are, and they see how hard Charlie tries, and they see a great mother in me, which sadly they don't get from you. Your emotionally damaging antics only prove you need medication and a lot of therapy. I feel bad for Peter. He deserves so much better, just like Charlie did. Karma's a witch, and you have the most negative energy of anyone I've ever met. No crystals will save you. You need an exorcism. Keep my name out of your mouth. Don't text Charlie about me again. Don't discuss me with your children, and please, for the love of God, get help. Your sad and pathetic life will never interrupt our relationship and the awesome family we have built. Stop hating, stop inserting yourself, and get help. Please, for the sake of Charlie's kids. She ain't reading all that. Or maybe she is.
I'm gonna be real, OP. That was a lot.
Yeah, that was only for you, to be clear.
I think that was more than we needed to say, and I think that some of those threats were not nice things to say. That was a lot.
Yeah, that was probably a lot of that could have been first draft.
Yeah.
Write that as a letter that
You're
you
cutting
burn.
that out. That's your
and
getting
then
your emotions out. That's the, like, this is everything I feel in my heart. And then we're gonna go and edit it.
Yeah.
Which we skipped that step.
Yeah. Could have boiled that one down to a couple of paragraphs.
Yeah. I'm wondering too, and I see some people in chat saying it also, like, if that could have any negative issues for Charlie and his kids when he's like going about custody stuff. Like, yeah, go. You really told her, but that could come back and bite you.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know how it would affect, because she's not a parent. I mean, she's
not, but if Charlie knows about that and there's like confirmation that he agreed to her sending it and everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably
I'm
no
wondering,
way to do that. I would doubt it.
I get where she was coming from, and I for sure, she's a terrible person. Could have been a first draft, but sure, you sent it.
This morning, she called Child Protective Services and falsely claimed that my fiancé abuses his sons. He has never laid a hand on them, to be clear, and that he's a heavy drinker and uses substances. The last time I saw him drink was 3 months ago at a baseball game where he had one drink, and he has never done any drogas. My super sweet vanilla man. Now he's under investigation for the lies she created, and the boys were pulled out of class to be interviewed. My fiancé was devastated. I've never seen him cry, and he was near tears today. So I battled for him. As a teacher in Illinois and a mandated reporter, I filed a claim against her for emotional and alienation in Illinois. And in Wisconsin, where she has been illegally living with her faux husband for over 3 years. She moved her and the boys in there 4 months into their relationship, So the boys now live 50% of the time over an hour away from their dad out of state. I then filed fraud reports with Illinois DHS because she's using Medicaid, EBT, and free legal aid from Illinois using her mother's address, but she's been a resident of Wisconsin for over 3 years. I also informed DCFS of this in Illinois and CPS of this in Wisconsin. And by the way, I'll inform you that you can listen to full episodes with stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. There's a whole lot to listen to, but there's only a little bit left to listen to in this story.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I think this needed to probably happen. This probably did need to happen.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that it happened. I'm just saying you went wild with that text, but it's the way you need to go. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's just hard because I hope this doesn't become like well, if you do get majority custody and she loses like a lot of her custody, then the kids are going to be like, did you take us away from mom? And then you have to be like, okay, I have to explain to you how the world works because no, I didn't. Mom actually wasn't allowed to have you because she's going through a lot and she has problems she needs help with. And because of that, she can't take care of you guys the way she needs to.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to take care of you guys once she gets better. And then when she does, you know, you'll be seeing her more. And she still loves you and all. I'd say all the right things, but it's like.
I think there's also, like, the beginning of that text was very much like, do you want to just drop it and move on? Or do you want me to be like, your worst nightmare proceeds to be your worst nightmare without even giving you the chance to drop it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still not, like, she still sucks. And like Dakota said, it was necessary, but I'm in shock.
I'm also having my attorney file an order of protection against her for pestering my fiance and emotionally children, and I'm listing his boys on the order of protection. In the meantime, my attorney is helping my fiance redraft the parenting agreement to take away child support and give him 70% custody. She is now under investigation in both states and will likely be charged with defrauding the state of Illinois, amongst other things. My fiance is super worried that she's going to do something crazy, but I say let the judge handle her now. Am I the a-hole, or did she bring this all on herself? Oh, and P.S., she swears by crystals and says she's trying to live life with positive energy. Yes, I laughed too. And that is the end of that story. Yeah, because she is anything but a little bundle of positive energy, that's for sure.
My best friend became obsessed with my life and started copying me.
Hey, no copycats allowed.
I, 28 female, have or had a close friend named Veronica, 31 female. We met a couple of years ago and became very good friends. It wasn't until earlier this year that I realized I'd maybe had rose-colored glasses on. By the way, this comes from The Confused Mermaid. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. Let me take you back to the start. I have a career as a model. No, not based on Instagram or OnlyFans before some of you start coming for me. I was scouted when I was a teenager and worked my butt off to get to where I am today. My husband, 37 male, is a professional athlete. We married after 5 years together and everything felt perfect. Due to the nature of our professions, we traveled a lot, but we always managed our schedules so that we could travel together or take turns supporting each other at our respective events. I met Veronica 3 years ago after she struck up a conversation with me while I was shopping in the store she worked in. We lived in the same city. She looked familiar, and I recognized her as someone who had followed me on social media for quite some time and would fairly frequently message me online. This wasn't strange to me at this time, as a lot of people do this. She seemed like a friendly girl, and after that, anytime I was in the store, she would strike up a conversation. Fast forward over the next few months, and I started running into her at my husband's local sporting events. I felt like I knew her, so we'd always end up sitting together or grabbing a bite to eat while we watched. Roughly another 6 months later, Veronica and I had become firm friends. She was going through a divorce, and I tried to support her as best as I could. We had fortnightly lunch dates, and she regularly asked to join me when I went to my husband's event to get her mind off things. Yes, this meant she was able to get into VIP and backstage areas. Around this time, I also found out I was pregnant. Veronica was very excited for me and would often check in, gift me baby items, or bring decor pieces to decorate the nursery. She also helped my mother and me organize a baby shower. When the baby was born, she was Auntie Veronica. She gave herself this title, but I was fine with it. She had been there with me through my whole pregnancy. I put my career on hold because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but once the baby was a few months old, I continued traveling with my husband. Veronica typically tagged along if my husband's event was within a few hours of our hometown under the guise of helping with the baby. This is where things started getting strange. Being backstage, Veronica ended up meeting Mark, someone who worked alongside my husband. After chatting online for a few weeks, they ended up having spicy sleep. Veronica bragged to me about this and went into details about her experience to the point where I had to ask her to not be so graphic. Mark is someone my husband and I have known for a long time, and I didn't need those visuals of him. It felt disrespectful. Veronica and Mark had spicy sleep a total of 2 or 3 times, her traveling 4 hours each way to meet up with him at his home.
Wow, how good is that spicy sleep?
4 hours, 8 hours total.
That's crazy.
The whole workday. Before Veronica told Mark she had feelings for him, Mark told her he wasn't interested in a relationship and ended their situationship. Veronica then told Mark not to worry about a relationship, asking if they could just keep having spicy sleep. Mark was smart enough to refuse this too. Despite this, at the next sporting event, Veronica still messaged Mark saying she had come along with me and would be staying in town if he wanted to come back to her hotel after the event. Mark said no again. 3 days after this rejection, Veronica then messaged another of my husband's fellow athletes. Let's call him Todd. They quickly met up and started having spicy sleep over the next couple of weeks. Veronica again declared her feelings for Todd within this time. He shut her down initially, but kept spending nights with her, eventually asking her to be his girlfriend after a couple of months. Once Veronica and Todd became official, she all but disappeared on me. She stopped checking in on the baby and me, stopped having lunch dates, and would take days, if not weeks, to reply to any messages I sent her. I figured she was just in the honeymoon phase of a new relationship, but she would post all over social media about traveling around with Todd to events. That's fine, she'd still ask to meet up with me at these events. But things started to take a turn. I began noticing little behaviors that fell off. She started making remarks like, "Oh, if I had your platform, I'd do this," or "If I had your following online, I'd do that." She would also say things like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you know this person," or "Oh my God, I can't believe that person follows you on socials." Veronica would ask me to post about her on my social pages, and she began sharing photos of my child to her social pages without asking me, only ever tagging my husband in them. I pulled her up on this.
What? That's like a huge invasion of privacy.
That's such a no-no. You don't post kids.
No. Yeah, like some people are comfortable doing that. A lot of people are not comfortable posting their kids online. So posting someone else's kids without even asking on your social media is crazy.
When security guards tried to stop her from going backstage during our partner's events, she would snort and blow up about it, saying things like, "Don't they know who we are?" Only she would try to go backstage. Other partners didn't go with her. She gave mushy pet names to other men who competed alongside Todd and my husband. Some of these men she had never even spoken to before. Veronica began acting very high and mighty, looking down her nose at other people. I grew tired of all the nasty little remarks she would often make about other women attending our partner's sporting events as spectators. She would ask me what I would be wearing to these events, and if I opted for jeans and a top instead of getting dressed up, she would get annoyed at me. She also started replicating outfits I had worn in the past. My husband ended up taking a break from his sport for a few months as it was taking a toll on his body. My contact with Veronica dropped even more after this. I only ever heard from her when she wanted something, like to raid my closet for an outfit. Then I heard from some of my husband's coworkers and their partners that Veronica was starting drama, telling other people I'd said nasty things about them. Not true. We were also told Veronica was making snide remarks about my husband and me, things along the lines of, they think very highly of themselves, and I don't know why people make such a big deal out of them, and she's not even that pretty. I had gone back to work at this point and was booking jobs. Veronica then started paying photographers and businesses to work as a brand rep for them. Never official, she was never paid to do so and never earned any royalties for promoting them. If I started working for a company, she would start following them and try to buddy up with the owners. If I was published by a magazine or a fan page or promotional page that was relevant to modeling or my husband's sport, she would then message them, tag them in her posts, and even submit photos asking for them to publish her too. Although she never had the time to reply to texts from me, she had all the time in the world to comment under my social posts calling me her bestie, goals, and saying she's so lucky to be a part of our lives. When my husband went back to his sport after a well-earned break, everyone was excited for his return, except Veronica. She seemed annoyed. I ignored it and focused on catching up with the others around us. By this point, mutual friends had started noticing the similarities and warning me to keep an eye on her. I spoke to my husband about these things as they happened, and he told me to try to take it as a compliment. Maybe she just looks up to me. I have tried to look at it this way, but over the months, all these little things have started to make my skin crawl. But you know what should never make your skin crawl? Listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search up OK Storytime. I've got just a little bit left.
My goodness.
This girl's crazy.
She's crazy. What's going on?
Crazy.
Veronica, what's happening? What are you insecure about her? What is it?
I like too that she's like, she's been dating Todd for like a couple months now, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like, OP is married to her husband for years.
Yeah.
And you're like acting
like you're the
like,
same.
I don't know. Like, for sure you're in a relationship with one of the players also, but
Sure.
recent girlfriend status is way different than longtime wife status.
Way different. Way different.
Oh, but we have a little bit left. Lately, she has started reaching out more again and gets snarky and rude if I don't reply immediately. Rich coming from her, I know. I'm hesitant to get close to her again because I'm concerned there may be an agenda there. I feel like I've been one-twoed in the stomach. My brain is telling me this is all so silly, but my gut is telling me to keep her away. My heart is just broken as I question whether our friendship was ever really real. I feel like she used me to get to these events, and now that she's dating one of the athletes, she just expects to have everything I've spent over a decade working for? Or am I just going crazy? There are 100 other little instances, but I'd be here for days unpacking it all. I have a headache even typing about it. Seems like petty high school rubbish, and we are all too old for this. Also, like, the modeling part of this is your entire separate career, and she's just expecting that because she's dating a player, like, she gets model status.
Yeah, honestly, and like your following and stuff, it's like you probably put so much work into your social media, and she's just like, okay, well,
like, that's her job, not like something that she got because she's married to a player.
Yeah, like that happened before they met.
Right.
Like
I guess I'm just looking for an outsider's perspective. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for going low contact with my close friend after she started copying me? That is the end of that story.
My parents demand financial support for their vehicle, and they guilt-tripped me when I refused.
why don't you guilt trip them right back?
First of all, I'm sorry for the mess. I'm very emotional right now. Well, it's okay. I'm 28, female, immigrated to Canada at 11 with my parents. Back home, my parents were very comfortable, and once they moved to Canada, we were middle class. And I'll admit, while I wasn't spoiled, I never missed anything growing up. By the way, this comes from user Tall Memory 7513, and you can submit your stories to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, I'll spare the details, but my relationship with my parents wasn't the best growing up. While they never hit me, they were emotionally abusive. My mom was mean and my dad was emotionally unavailable and always wrapped up in his own world. I was very ambitious from a young age. When I turned 16, I got myself not only one, but two jobs. Working 80 hours during the summers until I turned 20 and moved out for college. I was financially illiterate and irresponsible. So honestly, I spent all my money, but I paid for everything myself, except I lived there for free. I had free food and free public school education and free medical expenses. At 22, I got admitted into law school. My parents never directly said to me that they were proud, but never missed an opportunity to brag. When I asked them for a laptop for college, my dad sat me down and registered me for a student loan and told me, "Welcome to the real world. You're now on your own, kid." When my sister got into college this year, he bought her a laptop. Whenever I mentioned needing money during college, he told me to use the student loan money. During the first 2 years of college, my mom gave me a monthly allowance of $400, so I was grateful for that. Later, I discovered that she took my tax credit for the tuition I took a loan out for. When I confronted them, they told me I was selfish and ungrateful. I missed over $7,000 worth of tax return, so they pretty much paid what she gave me. I told them that I was going to do my taxes alone the year after, so she cut me off. Fast forward 3 years later, I graduated from law school and also did a master's degree, but I was in $140,000 in student loan debt. I'll admit, college tuition is not that expensive in Canada, and part of it was because I was irresponsible with money. What do you mean? Wait a minute. What does that mean? That's not, you can't just be like, I had $140,000 in student loan debt, but actually, I bought a car for $100,000. So really,
yeah.
like, what is that?
Because as Honeybee says, don't they have free medical help and school in Canada? I'm assuming that OP's probably paying for some sort of private healthcare.
Yeah, they do have private
Yeah,
options
they have.
out there.
Yeah, you have the option there, and then maybe if they're going to like law school, probably more expensive.
I just love
But also, yeah, kind of crazy that
the ambiguousness of that comment. I mean, most of it was because I was financially irresponsible. It's like, you don't just randomly rack up $140,000 of debt.
Gotta be real bad.
Like,
with the money.
what?
But it's just like using their card. They're like, oh yeah, just put it in my credit card.
I like how they're like, I'm not spoiled, but also I
have
can
no
kind of
idea how to use money.
accidentally rack up 6 figures of debt.
Yeah, that's kind of
You're
insane.
spoiled as flippity doodah.
True.
So I got my first job at a good law firm, and my salary was $130,000 a year. I was stupid and told my parents how much I made. So for them, I was rich, and it was the time to collect their return on their investment. Little did they know I have $1,700 a month in student loan repayment. I live on my own, and expenses do rack up. I also had some mental health issues, so I had to take 3 months off of work. I don't blame my parents for my financial mistakes, but I racked up $10,000 in credit card debt on top of my student loans. I was trying to live like my friends who made the same salary, but they didn't have loans, and that was a mistake. So I decided to be very strict on my budget to pay off the debts as soon as possible. Since I have little self-control, I don't keep much in savings. I just pay off as much as I can. My parents always make comments on how frugal I became and how I never spend money on them. So on 2 different occasions, we went to the restaurant with my brother and sister, and they gave the whole bill to me. The first time I paid it, and the second time I refused. I visit them less and less now, but every time they make comments on how rich I am and how I never spend money on them, that is weird.
It is weird. Why are they asking you? I don't understand, because I thought they were rich.
I mean,
I feel like they lost all their money.
I think they when they moved to Canada, they weren't making as much as they made
That must
previously.
be it. Yeah.
But like,
to the point where they have to like beg OP for money?
well, I don't know. I don't know. So we're going to keep going. They would always make comments on how rich I am and how I never spend money on them. Keep in mind, I got my mom a phone. I gave my dad $300 on his birthday. Same for my mom. And years ago, when I was still in college, I was parking my aunt's car and I bumped his car. I swear it was just a tiny little bump on the door. So he asked me to give him $1,000 for the repair. I told him I was broke, so he had told me that I'll have to pay for it when I graduate. Low key, this sounds like you're being financially like abused or manipulated.
Yeah,
here.
he
Like,
probably like, I don't know, put the car there. He like drove the car behind you and he's like, you ran into my car.
$1,000 for a little ding
There's
is
trickery going on.
exploitive.
Yeah.
For real.
You could buff that out.
Honestly, they sell tools for like $5 that you could probably pull that dent right out of the metal. This week, they decided to buy an Audi and needed to sell their old car. So my dad asked me to give him the $1,000. He never repaired it and he wasn't planning, but he told me that he would have to lower the price $1,000 when negotiating because he's selling it on Facebook Market. Therefore, I'll have to give him the money. Since I use all my money to pay back as much debt as possible, the holidays were pricey, so I literally have only $500 in my account. So I tried to explain to them for the first time that I'm actually broke and can't pay for it. They were mad at me and told me again that a lot of people my age were financially supporting their parents.
I can tell you that ain't true.
Chat, is that a lie, chat?
I can tell you that ain't true.
Chat, are we being lied to? OP continues, this is when I lost it. I started crying and told them that most of my friends didn't have to pay a penny for their education, and all they asked for is for them to not guilt trip me for not financially supporting them. They told me that my friends' parents were rich, and once again, I'm an ungrateful brat. They are far from broke. They just bought a bigger house in Canada, have 2 apartments, and a big home back home. I broke down. I took a long walk, and when I came back, I tried to explain to them calmly that their love felt conditional, since they made me feel like I had to pay them back for existing. So my dad told me that the $1,000 was just for the principal. You made a mistake, you have to pay for it. And the other comments about supporting them were just jokes.
Nah, they're trying to run it back. They're trying to run it back.
The good old fashioned,
No, you don't
I was just
understand
joking.
us. It was all jokes.
I'm
If you
just
had paid us,
kidding
we would have
around.
taken it, but it's all jokes.
Also, it's a joke? $1,000 based just on principal.
Yeah.
That's $100 right there.
That's a bad
maybe.
principle.
Maybe 200. Maybe
Mhm.
250. Maybe.
That's it. That's if we're talking
Max
maybe.
tapped out at 250.
We're talking big dent.
Ay. He reminded me that he bought me glasses until high school. I told him it's the bare minimum since I can't actually see without them.
He's like,
He really said,
yeah,
remember all the times I didn't neglect you?
it's like, remember all the times when I helped you with your disability?
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Remember, daughter, who I didn't consult with on if they wanted to exist or not? Remember when I single-handedly prevented you from being blind?
You're welcome. Pay me
Purely
back.
out of the goodness of my heart.
Yeah, and also, you should pay me now.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness of my heart, and also the promise of money in the future.
Honestly, this is what I would do if I was OP. Just really quick before we get back to the story.
Yeah.
I would immediately stop caring about these people.
Yeah.
Right? They are literally just trying to suck money out of you. And make your own itemized list of everything that you owe them.
Yeah.
Right? And once you give them that money, just be like, now never ask me for a single thing ever again. We're even.
And cut them off.
And be done.
Or don't give them money and then just cut them off.
Yeah. I mean,
Either one.
He also said that he paid for my phone during high school and that I will get a big inheritance from the real estate they have. He then added, may God never make us dependent on you. Blamed me for making a scene for $1,000. Reminded me that he sacrificed his career for us when he moved to Canada and told me that I will regret my behavior and the way I was treating them. See how bitter they get? See how spicy it gets? Once the sugar doesn't work, how spicy they get. Edit, thank you so much for everyone for your kind words. I just wanted to clarify, I don't actually financially support them, and I don't think they're living beyond their means. However, I think they were expecting to get spoiled once me and my siblings graduated in exchange for their sacrifices, and now they are salty and disappointed. If I could afford it, I would, but in this economy?
Ain't no way.
OP's got jokes.
Got jokes.
In this economy?
I can't afford in this economy.
Also,
Opie's got debt.
Was it, huh?
I said Opie's got debt.
Oh, yeah, she's got
Jokes
debt.
and debts.
Debt jokes. Also, in college, my mom randomly called me once and was complaining on how she was tired of working. She said, if you and your brother give me $1,000 a month when you graduate, I could retire. You should just start calling everyone in the yellow book and making that same deal.
It's just like, if you all give me $10,
Mm-hmm.
if 1,000 people give me $10,
Just start a group chat with a bunch of strangers.
and say, hey, can I have $10? Thank you.
Thanks.
And then you just keep going down the line.
I told her politely that it's not fair to start my professional life with such a burden since she's in her early 50s and able-bodied. She got mad and gave me the silent treatment for weeks. And by the way, you don't have to endure the silent treatment because you can listen to full episodes with stories like this whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear us go blah, 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 blah. All you have to do
long.
is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any place where you consume podcasts and search OK Storytime.
Do it. You won't.
Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear her lay down the gauntlet? She just said, what'd she say?
Do it. You won't.
Oh my God. Are you going to take that? Couldn't be me. But hey, look, we've got a little bit of story left.
Let's finish her off.
Let's just go ahead and run right into it.
Let's
huh?
run right into
Like
it.
a-
Full
like
steam
a-
ahead.
Like a brick
Chugga
wall.
chugga choo choo.
We will run. Finally, my mom was complaining to my sister that she had to give a gift to her friend because her friend gave a gift to my sister on her birthday and how much she had to repay for the gift we received during our lives. What is going on here?
These bad parents. Hey, yay.
Yeah. I told her we didn't choose to be born. And she told me I didn't decide to have children. It was God's decision. Besides, I could have kicked you out at 18 and asked you to pay for groceries when you got your first job, like white people. I explained to her that maybe 1% of white people did that. Comments. I mean, honestly, I don't even think that's a race thing. It's just, it depends on, do you need all of the money?
Yeah.
Like, where's your income at?
Exactly.
Like,
I also am wondering possibly if this is like the comments about, oh, like kids your age are caring for their parents, if that's like potentially like probably cultural.
maybe.
Yeah.
I
Potentially.
don't know. I feel like it's almost a cultural thing that like white people completely abandon their parents. It's because it's very.
Oh no, I mean when the parents were saying, "Oh, you need to take care of like children your age are taking care of their parents" earlier in the story.
It's weird because culturally, I wonder where they came from before they came to Canada, because like pretty much everywhere else on Earth besides like America and like Western society or culture, whatever you want to call it, it's a very normal and like basically expected thing to continue to live near your family.
Yeah.
And like your parents and whatever. Like it's the nucleus stays pretty tight.
Yeah.
But in, like American society or,
Western.
North American culture, it's like if you don't get out of town, like the longer you're at home, like you're just the more of a loser you become,
Mhm.
which is like not at all looked at like that everywhere else on Earth, essentially. So
True day.
it is like maybe there's a little bit of that where it's like, oh, I thought we were going to stay tight or whatever, and it seems like you're just trying to go do your own
Thought we were
thing.
gonna be tight.
I thought we were going to be cool when we moved to
Yeah.
Canada, and now you're just like, you got all these gross Canadian ideals.
What are you doing with those Canadian ideals?
Anyway, let's finish it off. Comments. Number 1, please do not give them any money. You're not the a-hole. You've been very kind and generous, but this is another example of them showing that they do not see you as someone to love, only someone to use. Anything they bought you from the day you were born to the day you turned 18 is the bare minimum. That's their job as parents. They didn't want to shell out the money. They don't have kids. You worked hard to get where you are now, and you did it without their help. Well, I don't know. I think she got some. They don't get to demand things from you now. OP replied, "Thank you so much for your kind words. When I told my mom during the argument that I didn't ask to be born, she called me ungrateful and told me that she could have kicked me out as soon as I turned 18 and could have given me the bare minimum to survive during my childhood like some parents do."
Wow, well that's the end of that story.
If you want more stories like this, search for our podcast, OK Storytime, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I co-signed a lease to help my friend, and now she's excluding me.
Can you get her off the lease?
We are in our late 20s. I recently moved to another state for my master's and reconnected with a friend I knew here. She's a single mom, and her ex doesn't help at all, financially or with their kid. She works overnight caring for a baby, then spends all day with her own son, so she literally never gets a break and barely sleeps. By the way, this comes from Separate Presence 880, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. We don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do in a situation, but let us know what you would do in the comments. So, OP says, when I first got here, she was so kind. She picked me up from the airport, showed me around, and even lent me her car before mine arrived. She was trying to move out and bring her mom and brother to help with the baby and support each other, but because she works under the table and has a poor credit score, she kept getting rejected for rental. It broke my heart seeing her so desperate, especially because I'm a mom myself. Neither her ex nor his family would co-sign for her, so I offered that we rent a place together and my husband could co-sign. I'll only be there about 5 months a year since I travel back and forth, but the lease is for a year. My husband wasn't thrilled, but trusted my judgment. Fast forward, we finally found a place and got approved, and that's where everything begins. The night before move-in, she texted me asking if I could show up an hour later because she and her family wanted to, quote, pray in the house first. I was honestly really hurt. Like, why can't I be there too? We're both Catholics, and I'm also going to live there. Then the next day, she texted again saying that she was running late to pick up the keys and asked if I could come even later. That's when I snapped and told her that I thought it was rude to exclude me and ask me that. She replied with, I really appreciate you helping us get this house, but it's always been for me and my family. We just wanted a private moment to pray together, and I don't know why you're overreacting. I was taking a nap, and when I woke up, I saw that she had sent me a message asking if I could wait to leave the room because the baby's dad was there, and he didn't know that I was living with them. She said she doesn't want him to know because he might want to negotiate a lower child support. Now, I asked her how we would deal with this every time he goes there because I might have something to do where I have to shower, leave the house, etc. And she said, I don't know yet. My friend is coming into town to visit from Thursday to Sunday, but we'll sleep at another friend's house every day except Thursday. Thursday, I'll work overnight as a nanny, taking care of a newborn, and of course, my friends need a place to sleep. So I texted my friend, my roommate, explaining the situation, that I'd go to work at 9:30 p.m. and that my friend would sleep there, and I made the mistake, I guess, of asking if she was okay with it. She replied that she wasn't okay with it, and that no one else but her family and I have slept in the same space as her baby, and that she does not feel comfortable because she does not know my friend. I told her that I've known my friend for 12 years and that I didn't think this was fair because I'm not just her roommate, I am also on the lease. She again told me that I was creating a problem and that we need to have a, quote, mutual interest. I told her that we needed to talk about house rules, but she said that she's not interested. I told her that we need to talk about the rules because if I don't agree with something that you are imposing, I don't want to keep living there. And then she accused me of, if we don't agree with everything you say, then you'll put us on the streets. Well, I never mentioned that. I just said that I wouldn't live there. They are 3. I am 1. Unfortunately, that might mean that they can't keep renting the place because they do not meet the requirements. It's really hard. Any thoughts on the situation or how to best approach this? What would you do in my situation? She does not want to talk about house rules and said that she's too tired organizing the house and working. My friend is getting here in 2 days and I have to rent an Airbnb for her. I am so disappointed and I feel like I'm in the right here, but she's starting to get in my head and make me question myself. And there is an edit, but
I don't know why you asked for permission in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just kind of like, yeah, you live there too.
I know. I mean, she probably was thinking like, oh, it's just a polite, like, oh, like, are you cool with this? You know.
But like, it's more of a courtesy to just tell them that they're staying.
Yeah.
Than to be like, are you okay that I have a guest over in my own home?
Right.
Like,
Just
it's more
by
just
the
like,
way.
hey, by the way, like, this is happening this weekend. Hope that's chill.
Yeah.
Kind of gonna happen either way, though.
I'm also confused about why, like, if, like, the whole reason OP was gonna be on the lease was because the friend couldn't get, like, a cosigner.
Right.
And, like, her family couldn't get a cosigner, but the family's living there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the family wouldn't cosign, I think, is what she said, but the family's living there. Or maybe it's the
I
ex's
don't know.
family. I don't know.
Either way, I don't think you should have lived here with them.
Yeah, I think this is, I mean, yeah, I think you're obviously understanding this was a huge mistake.
You got it for a year.
Dude.
Maybe you can sublet out.
Yeah, right? Gosh. To those telling me to move out, I can't. The lease states that even if I move out, I would still be financially responsible, meaning that it will affect both my husband's and my credit scores if they don't pay. The only way to get out of the lease is by finding someone else to replace my husband and me, which she would never allow me to do, and I guess she would make a scene if I brought someone to show the house to. Or everyone needs to sign agreeing to let us out, but then the landlord has to run their credit and income to see if they can qualify, and they don't. So basically, I'm screwed. If anyone has any legal input on this, please let me know. The state is Washington. But we do have some comments. Comment number 1 says, don't ask to talk about house rules. Simply announce, I'm renting halvesies on the house. I will be in it when I want. I will not hide from anyone. I will not stay away when your family comes to pray. I can invite my friends to stay here. Then you do it. What is she going to do? Complain, of course. Move out. Okay, so I guess that makes sense. Like, I guess maybe the family doesn't live there, but they definitely stay over sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or so I
or
think
at
the
least they visit.
situation is that 2 family members live there that aren't signed on the lease.
Yeah.
OP lives there who is signed on the lease, and then her friend lives there who is signed on the lease. And I assume friend's baby also lives there.
Yeah. Comment number 2 says, don't get an Airbnb for your friend. Let them stay with you. Your roommate can suck rocks. You need some backbone. This girl played you. Comment number 3 says, ask to be taken off of the lease. Also, don't rent houses for other people. I can understand why your husband wasn't thrilled to do it. And we do have an update. Over the weekend, I received messages from her trying to impose more rules, and I decided to finally impose some respect. We ended up going back and forth through text. I lost my patience, got rude, and told her to stop bothering me. She replied, are you serious? Don't you have manners? That's when I told her that without me, she wouldn't even have this house. She denied it, saying that she could have just rented an apartment instead. She also claimed that she had other people who could have co-signed for her, but she chose me because she wanted to, quote, help me too. So I said, if that's true, ask one of them to replace my husband on the lease. She agreed, and we decided to go to the management office. But just 30 minutes after that, her mom texted me asking what was going on. I explained, and she suggested that we all have a conversation. During that conversation, the mom admitted that they didn't have anyone to replace my husband. Yeah, what a surprise. What a crazy surprise this is. Crazy. I pointed out that her daughter had said otherwise, but then she turned around and lied, saying that she never said that, even though I have the messages. That's when things got worse. She started accusing me of terrible things, saying I had texted her about wanting to hurt the child I babysit, which is absolutely false. That I pushed her son's playpen, which I did because it was blocking the stairs, and that I hurt him and his friend. Not true at all. I was completely shocked and asked her to prove it. She just said, I will. Throughout the whole talk, I was sitting down in a chair, talking and using hand gestures, as I usually do when I talk. At one point, her mom stood right in front of me, and when I kept gesturing while talking, my, quote, friend suddenly stood up and came towards me, saying, don't touch my mom, as if I was about to do something. What?
Oh my god.
What? That's so wild.
You gotta figure out a way out of here. Like, this is
Dude.
crazy.
Oh my gosh. This is wild. I told her to please move because I had been sitting there the entire time, and her daughter was now trying to make it look like I was threatening them. She kept repeating at every opportunity that I was threatening her, which I absolutely was not. And by the way, I would never threaten you to listen to full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, Radio. That's a good one. All you have to do is go to search up OK Storytime. No threats needed. There is a little bit more to the story, but
I don't even know.
These people need a good old. I feel like I can't promote violence, and I will not promote violence. No threats allowed. None of violence. Bad. No. However, with these people, all that you can do. No, you actually really shouldn't do that, especially if they're already complaining. It's gonna make things worse.
I think you just need to get out.
Yeah, you really do. You really do.
Double check the lease. I don't know that there's.
Yeah, it's gotta be something you can do. It's gotta be something. Like, how bad will it affect your credit scores? You know, that's my question, because you can rebuild that.
Can you pay it without living there? If you're planning, like, where's husband? Go live with husband.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Why is he the co-signer but not living there with you? But like, unless this was like she moved, like, unless they're doing long distance somehow or something. She mentioned she moved, but I'm assuming her husband is there with her. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I don't know. I wonder how bad it'll affect your credit score, and if you are in a spot where, like, you can rebuild it before you need to, like, really use it for, you know, getting a house or something again.
Right. Or if there's a way to get, like, a legal matter to get out of it, like, bring this up as, like, I can't be near this person kind of thing.
Yeah, like, I think you should definitely, like, press record now and just start recording all of these crazy conversations. Like, maybe even on video. Yeah, you have the text, screenshot those guys, print them out. Like, just get the evidence that you need. Hopefully something can be done. I'm not a lawyer. So, the conversation ended with her mom asking for 1 week to find someone who could replace my husband and me on the lease. I agreed and said that if nothing changes by then, I'll take legal action. Now, I'm realizing the situation might be worse than I thought, because I feel like she might try to frame me for something. I've installed a camera in my room for my own protection, and I'm planning to wait 5 more days to see if her mom follows through. I really don't want to involve the police because of their situation, but I'm trying to document everything, including on this post, just in case. Comments. Comment number 1 says, in Washington, as in many other places, even if you find someone else to take over the lease, you will still be fined for breaking the lease early. And then you can't just have someone else take your spot on the lease. They will need to file a whole new lease from square one, meaning new background checks, new credit checks for everyone who will be on the lease. But they will still charge you 3 months of rent to break the lease early, and you might also forfeit any security deposit that you paid when you signed the lease. But OP responds, I messaged the landlord who said they could not do anything. Okay. I mentioned the RCW 5918575 Washington State law, and that's when they told me, if you send me the documentation, we will act according to Washington regulations. So Friday, I am going to my doctor to get a, quote, third-party report so I can send it to them. This way, they can't charge me or them any fee. I have my name and my husband's name removed, and I do not have to involve the police. Hopefully it works. I am so hopeful.
Woo.
I'm hopeful for you too, girl. And that's the end of that story.
That's the wow. Okay.
That's all we've got.